All right, I'm just trying to get through some technical difficulties here, guys. Let's see. Welcome to the broadcast. A little bit more trouble than I had last night trying to get all this working, so we're working through this. I'm trying to send out a message. New link. Send that out. Go in here and get rid of this previous one. Hopefully I get some people over here after struggling to get this up and running. All right, I think I think we've at least have one viewer. Let's see. Who am I rebuilding first? I was talking to O-Dog today. He's invited me to older player league. Can't use top 25 teams. In fact, I think you have to be from the group of 5. I'm thinking, I'm intrigued by Liberty. I mean, I want to win. They would be someone in that league. As far as for non-top 25, I'm putting that in there. As far as building a program, I wouldn't mind using Kennesaw State and starting from the ground up. I really like Texas San Antonio. They weren't around 11 years ago. They have some really nice color scheme. You have the pipeline of Texas. Being that they're in Central Texas, I don't know how exactly they're going to break it down. I don't know. I mean, if they're going to break down Florida and have North Florida, Central Florida, South Florida, you would think they're going to have East Texas, West Texas, Central Texas in the game. So I would probably use the Central Texas for San Antonio. That's going to be my home, my backyard. And then if you get to choose, and it looks like from watching Not the Experts, Drew's video yesterday, which, heck, I think everyone and their mama watched that video. He had over 810,000 views in less than 36 hours. That's phenomenal. I mean, the support that he got and the amount of people that have gone in and watched that video. I mean, I don't know if people's gone in and watched it 2 and 3 times. Hell, give him a quarter of that. I mean, he's had, 250,000 people watch his video in less than 36 hours. That's phenomenal. But anyway, it looked like you can actually go in and select your own pipeline. And I would take, obviously, East Texas. I mean, if you're going to give me Central Texas for my backyard, rebuild, but an actual build. As far as teams, that you want to rebuild, that maybe return to glory, who were previous, 5-star programs, 4-star programs. Let me look at something because I just got a message pop up, so I'm trying to make sure that the video stream is still working. Are you guys seeing video right now? I just got a message, so I'm all new to this as far as streaming. So Usually I upload video. So are you guys seeing me right now? It looks like I just pulled it up myself. I'm Gucci. Yeah, I mean, as far as building a team, returning them to glory, Nebraska, they've got Dylan Raiola, freshman quarterback, number one quarterback in the country, decommitted from Georgia, going to Nebraska. I really like using Nebraska in the Big Ten. Miami, I mean, good God. I mean, yeah, they're a top 13 team, but good God, Miami ain't been good, really. I mean, they're always hyped up in the preseason. They suck in the season. I mean, they're coming to Louisville here to play us this year at home. I can't wait to watch. I mean, we hung 40 on them last year at third place. They're going to come to Louisville. We're going to bust them again this year. But as far as on this game, I'm going to love using Miami. You know, reading some of this stuff, any idea on how many teams we can control in offline Dynasty? I really don't know. I've received some conflicting information on that. I know that everyone thinks that you can just go in and bounce around from team to team in Dynasty and, control everybody as long as you go in and delete your coach and reassign yourself. I don't know if that's the case. I mean, there's been a couple of creators who's gone in and said, no, once you on that team, you're stuck with, I guess, with that team throughout the year. But I don't want to give misinformation. I don't know. So I don't want to tell everyone that, oh, you can't do this or that. We're all going to find out on Monday. So I don't know how many teams we can actually control in offline Dynasty. How do I feel about no formation subs? Well, let me see if I can bring that up so we can dig into that. So first off, before I get into that, let's go over this real quick, and then we'll get into some of these comments in the chat. So this weekend, 35 of the content creators, are going to have capture events. I mean, I know Good Game Bro maybe is going to put out like 12 straight hours of footage, which is awesome. Findler, YT, Findler does a great job with his content. He sends out great tweets every day. So, I mean, he's in the Twitterverse, puts out good videos. I love what Good Game Bro does. I mean, I sent out a tweet probably this evening and commented on how well spoken he is, how informative he is. He just knows what the heck he's talking about. I mean, that kid, now I say kid, I'm a 50-year-old man, but he's got a bright future in whatever he wants to do. If he can use this platform to talk about sports video gaming, if he wants to sit there and put that and then his image, he's got the looks and all that stuff, and go into media, TV, maybe EA will put him on, like a user. That dude's got personality, man, and he knows what he's talking about. So I love Good Game Bro. I like what Popular Stranger does. I watch Popular Stranger all the time. My favorite is Dubby. Watching Dubby, I mean, and I love Dubby for more reasons than one. I mean, that dude is in my age group. I mean, I'm probably 15 years older than Dubby. But for that dude to go out and compete in the MCS, and he's not a full-time gamer. Like, y'all got to understand, this dude has a full-time job to support his family. He's been doing content, so making money on that side. But, he's got to take time off to go, deal with the kids and the wife and everything like that. He's not 18 years old without a care in the world. He has a family he's got to take care of and support. But, and he does all the content. So I love watching W. And I mean, I hope this guy even hears, knows who Fairdale Kings is. I've watched that dude spank my son's butt. My son is 24 years old and tries to compete in the MCS. And he's actually beat Henry twice. Henry, who's going to have some content out. My son beat Henry in some games last year. He's played against Problem, right? He's competed with Problem, but the one person that's a thorn in the side for my son in Madden is Dubby. So I respect Dubby. I love Dubby. That dude, I love watching his content. I watch him play games, and being in my role, I don't understand why people are watching other people play video games. It blows my mind. But if I'm going to sit down and enjoy one person playing, it is Dubby, because when that guy loses it, he flat loses it. I mean, that dude's slamming stuff. I mean, he tries to stay professional, but buddy, when you get under Dubby's skin, it's curtains. It's a wrap. So anyway, all these guys on this screen are going to be putting out content this weekend. Please support these guys. Mr. Civ, Bordeaux, who's a UK fan. Hey, I'm a Louisville fan. Bordeaux's doing his thing. I know he went up to EA and, got smacked by Donovan Edwards, but some of that stuff, they're just doing some stuff to put out, content and show stuff. It's unfortunate because I went down. I got an NDA and all that. I went to EA Sports 3 weeks ago today, and phenomenal. It was a dream to go down there and actually get to spend time on their campus and see all the history. I'll leave it at that. I saw all the history and everything involved and some other features. But unfortunately, because I took my vacation and went down there, they were like, man, we wish you'd be here 2 weeks from now. So I knew that all those guys went down last week and filmed content. I'm not quite sure when Not the Expert filmed his, if it was in the May event, but I think that I heard or read somewhere that he was there on July 2nd, July 3rd. Even though he was still playing a previous build of the game, he was able to film all that Dynasty stuff, which we'll get into. But I just wish that, like everyone else told me who I interacted with at EA, was like, hey, we wish you were here 2 weeks from now. So I love that respect that they gave me. USR, good googly moogly. Yeah, don't let me forget about that dude. Uncle Sam's Reject. That dude, man. We've been, going back and forth with messages on Twitter. So that guy, I got a lot of respect from him as well. I've more recently become a fan of him and his content. But anyway, so all these guys are doing this content this weekend. Here's a schedule of the Saturday and Sunday games. You see some of the names on this. I mean, LeBron James, Chad Ochocinco, which I know Chad personally. He played at Cincinnati Bengals. I had a kid, Jeremy Johnson, who played at IU for 3 years, was the fullback / tailback when Antoine Randall L was there. And then he won a national championship at Western Kentucky playing for Jack Harbaugh. Well, Jeremy Johnson played in the NFL for 7 years, and I coached him in high school. And later in his career, he only played 6-7 years. I mean, when you're a fullback and you're just smashing heads, I mean, he was going head to head against Ray Lewis at the time and would stone Ray Lewis in the hole. I mean, that's when I think Corey Dillon was a running back, and they had Chad Ochocinco and they had TJ Huzmazilla. I'll throw that out there, Hushmanzada. But, Chad used to come to Louisville all the time and hang out with Jeremy Johnson. So through that interaction, I became familiar with Chad. Sketches on here. You see Donovan Edwards going to participate again. MMG, I mean, content creator dudes, I mean, world renowned on this stuff. Don't know about gaming aspect, but he's entertaining. Michael Vick, Tim Tebow, Shane Gillis. That dude's got a podcast, funny as all can be, but he's been talking about how hyped he is about this. So maybe EA was giving him some extra money, but he's talked about it. Dan Soder, Quinn Ewers, Big Cat's on here. PFT, Travis Hunter, and Shadur Sanders. So all those guys are going to do something. And then here is the actual schedule. So tomorrow, some of this stuff's going to kick off at 1 o'clock tomorrow. You're going to have Frankie Walker and LeBron James. At 2 to 4, you're going to have Sketch College Football Kickoff Stadium. 4 to 6, we're going to see a game. Donovan Edwards and MMG are going to play. If it's any indication of what Donovan Edwards did to Bordeaux, MMG ain't got a chance, man. That dude, Donovan Edwards, besides using himself, Michigan is stacked. 6 to 8, we're going to have Chad Walker and Ben Hallmiller talking. Dynasty 101 Developer Showcase. And then tomorrow, the showcase event, which I can't wait, is going to be Michael Vick and Tim Tebow playing. I don't know if either one of them are any good at the damn game, but it should be entertaining as all can be. And then on Sunday, you've got Travis Hunter and Shadur Sanders playing between noon and 2. Deion Sanders been complaining about their ratings, saying, Travis Hunter's the best player in the game. How in the heck's he got the same rating as someone else? And the Shadur ought to be rated higher, but whatever. That's neither here nor there, but those two guys will kick off the events on Sunday. Between 2 and 4, you got Quinn Ewers and Chad Ochocinco. Shane Gillis and Dan Soder is going to play between 4 and 6. And then to cap off the Sunday events is Big Cat and PFT are going to play or go through Dynasty mode playthrough. So that's kind of what we have lined up for tomorrow and Sunday. Now, this is some feedback that Not the Expert was sharing with the community today on Reddit. And I'll go into this before we get to some other stuff. So one thing he said is I don't know if many people have really talked about this, how important arm strength is on quarterbacks. And I really considered this after watching all of the videos previously. We're seeing all the interceptions thrown. Like, I was like, I've got to take Quinn Ewers or a really standout quarterback because you've got to be able to throw the deep out, the deep comeback, the corner routes. And NTE, Drew, I'll just call him Drew, confirmed my suspicion. He said, unless you have an elite arm, throwing out routes on the far side of the field will lead to a ton of interceptions. The guys just don't have the arm strength to throw the ball from the far hash all the way across the field. So he said, so having someone with average arm strength limits the playbooks and the plays that you're going to be able to use. He said, it'll be more like in NCAA 14. There's a major difference in throwing velocity, which I think is cool and realistic. So that's coming from Drew, who put out that Dynasty video yesterday. Now, as far as his recruiting, and I'll talk about this and then we'll show some of the video. So there is not any sliders that's going to help with the recruiting aspects. Like, you can't sit there and say, okay, if I put, 25%, 50%, 75%, there's nothing that you can adjust, nothing at all. But what there is the ability to speed up your progression and gather more coach XP, which is what he did. He kind of gamed the system. But, he in his defense, Drew said, I wanted to show off more coach abilities. I was trying to let everyone see what the coach abilities are, how you can stack them. If you watch the video, and I'm going to showcase some of that video, he talked about it, was that, and I would do it myself, is that as a head coach, my role as a head coach is I'm going to be the recruiter. When you're a head coach, you go out and you shake hands and kiss babies. Yeah, I mean, you're calling plays and all that, but you're the face of the franchise. At the end of the day, in the college level, the head football coach, the head ball coach is the face of the program. No matter what. Players come and go in the college level. They don't stay there. I mean, especially now in this era of transfer portal. So in that capacity, I'm going all in as a recruiter. But for this role, you can also set up your offensive and defensive coordinators and sign them up as recruiters. And what that does is that gives you a chance to stack those abilities and give you more XP and try to sign better classes. If you're a bad program, or, you might use that as a way to turn around your program, rebuild it, or build it up more quickly than normal. But on the flip side, you become one-dimensional. You lose out on tactician, any of those branches. You're going to lose out on motivator. So, it's something that you've got to weigh heavily. As a head coach, do you sit there and sign yourself and make yourself a recruiter, and your offensive coordinator a tactician because he's got to do X's and O's, and then your defensive coordinator make him a motivator so he can yell and scream and, shout at the top of his lungs and play the bad cop? That's something to think about. And we'll find out what kind of works. Before I get into my deep dives, I'm going to mess around with some different dynasties and use different teams and use different tactics. I'm going to sit there and get a program and probably be recruiter and have all my coordinators recruiters. And I'm also going to, on the flip side, be, one of each and see how that all shakes out. But yeah, that's why those results kind of happen. I mean, because there's no reason that Kennesaw State's 134. Their first year in FBS is this year. They started a football program in 2015 in the Big South and won a couple championships. But I don't care what you do. Like, it never should a 1-star or 2-star program sign a 5-star player ever. And that's my point of contention and why I've been so vocal on Twitter about this. It doesn't happen. Now, yes, I will concede the fact that a 1 or 2-star program on occasion will sign a 4-star player. It happens. I went through the list because someone came back at me today with a response that 1 and 2-star teams do get 4-star players. Yes. But this guy signed enough 4 and 5-star players for a 10-year window in 1 year with the worst team in football. That should never, ever, ever happen. I looked at the 50 schools. I went through the list because I'm going to always back up with facts. So I went to 24/7 and went to Rivals today and looked at the 2024 recruiting class. And maybe 5 teams of those 50 plus had signed one 4-star player, with Colorado State being one of them. And they play in the Mountain West, which is not Conference USA. It's not the MAC. And, everyone for years is giving crap to the Sun Belt, and they should deserve it. but they're trending upward. I mean, last year Sun Belt sent 12 teams to the bowl games. Now, I mean, a lot of them finished 6 and 7 or whatever, had 500 records, but they're not the Sun Belt that we grew up with. They're actually becoming more of a football conference. But yeah, I mean, so he cheesed the game, but being that he did, he came back with this, and then I'll get into some other stuff, and I'll go through these comments and real quick, because right now I'm ignoring chat. I just want to cover this real quick. But Drew did state, and this has been lost on me, even with my connections and everything else. There's no formation subs in college football 25, at least on the builds that we've seen. So that was how I was going to attack wear and tear. I mean, if you're going to have this wear and tear system and you've got to be able to sub players out, for instance, I would have, for say Ohio State, I would have Henderson in any play that was under center, I formation, strong, weak, whatever. He would be my 2-back running back. And then when you're getting in gun, I'm going to put Judkins at running back. So now I'm able to sit there and divide up my personnel groups with the formation subs. If I've got a younger quarterback that I want to get time with, I might put him in, say, a single back if I'm going to run speed option. You've got a guy on the bench who's not a pocket passer and is not, not developed and have all that, but you want to use him in some packages. Okay, single back, 2 tight end, we're running speed option, whatever. I don't care. Put my backup quarterback there and let him roll. And that gives my starter a little bit of break and gets that guy some snaps to keep him happy for my NIL promises and all that stuff. But right now, there's no formation subs. You also can't sub in first team or second team. And something else he had a problem with was, the training results. It didn't show up. I mean, it showed like +7 or whatever, but you didn't see the overall grade on how much a player went up overall. You just saw a +7. So he said that was a little bit confusing. So that is what it is. Let me, see what I've missed here. I know guys, I mean, Temple, they wouldn't be bad. I mean, you want to talk about building a program. I mean, heck, Temple got thrown out of conferences. I mean, they're the only team in history who's been kicked out of a conference. I mean, all these other conference, teams over the years have all, left on their own to go join something bigger and better. Temple's in a situation, they got kicked out of a conference. So yeah, go enjoy using the Owls, for sure. Sean, I enjoy it. I mean, I'm just giving, look, I'm from the 305. I'm from Miami myself. Hollywood, Florida. I know it's Broward County, but I was born right there on the border. My dad was a jockey, so we rode at Gulfstream Park. So, Miami-Dade County. So I've always watched Miami with respect. University of Louisville's coach, Howard Schnellenberger, coached at Miami for several years before, and won a national championship before he came up here and coached at Louisville and tried to turn our program around. Made a promise for a national championship, and we're still on a collision course. I'll use Howard's words. We're still on a collision course with the national championship. We'll see what happens, but no, I'm just playing with Miami. I mean, I like Miami and Florida State. When this ACC falls apart and that's the way it looks like it's trending, I don't know where Louisville's going to land. I mean, it sucks. We're always the afterthought. We thank God we didn't end up in the Big 12 previously, and we got a landing spot in the ACC. But man, it looks like the ACC is going to be collapsing relatively soon. And there's more reports coming out with Clemson and Florida State and maybe Miami and NC State going and joining the Big 12. Nothing's final yet, but then they're also talking about Stanford, who just joined the ACC, and Notre Dame maybe joining the Big 10. I don't know where this is all going. This whole conference realignment stuff is totally crazy. So, how you guys incorporate this in your dynasties, if you want to move teams around, go for it, because who knows what the heck's going to happen here, in the next couple of years. I know someone said they've got TC in one dynasty in Utah, but at Utah, y'all need to wake up. If you're not on that Utah train, I mean, there's 5 schools in the Big 12 that can realistically win the championship, and I'm not counting Colorado as one of them. I'm talking about Utah, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, and there's one other that I'm right now I'm kind of missing, but Arizona's the 5th. Good God, I mean, you got T. McMillan, and they've got a linebacker At Arizona, Utah's got a quarterback that's really good. Kansas has a great running back. We saw that with the roster ratings. So, yeah, any of those 5 teams. TCU, I mean, you've got a good recruiting base. It's going to help there. Let me see anything else in here that trying to stay up. No wear and tear sliders and L. Yeah, I mean, that's no recruiting slider, no wear and tear. We'll see what goes on with those. I'm going to go ahead and start this video. Now, all credit goes to Drew, NTE, not the expert. He put out this video. I'm going to, kick in here and sometimes, and I'll add his audio to this. I don't know if you guys watched it. During the course of this video, though, I mean, we do see that as he does this, you had the option to sign or choose one-star programs. So as you're going into your dynasties, if you're just a one-star dynasty, two-star dynasty, you can actually sort all the teams by what prestige level that the teams have. And when you kick off your dynasty, you've got to make your choice. And I alluded to this already. Are you going to be a motivator, a recruiter, a tactician? All those things play a role in the branching system and how your career is going to turn out. So the path that you're going to take, all that stuff, matters. He took Kennesaw State. You want to talk about, a build. It's not a rebuild. I mean, I know everyone brands it that way, but when you're taking over a team, this is their first year in FBS football. And for you guys who don't know, you're not aware of Kennesaw State, they joined, they started playing football in 2015, joined the Big South, and automatically competed. I mean, they're in a recruiting hotbed in metro Atlanta, just north of Atlanta, really. And they went into the Big South, and they won the conference championship like 2 years. And they said, you know what? We've got higher aspirations, higher goals. We want to play D1 football. They went to like the Atlantic Sun and played for a couple of years, and they weren't as competitive, didn't win as many championships. But last year was their transition year. And they only played a 9-game schedule. They went 3-6 last year, played a bunch of cupcakes. But what they did was they redshirted most of their players. And I'm going to pause this real quick. They redshirted a ton of players. They played the maximum 4 games, put all those guys on the bench, and then by doing that, they were getting ready for this year, which is phenomenal. So they've got a ton of talent coming back and a ton of experience. I don't know how that's going to translate in playing Conference USA. I mean, some of these other teams like Jacksonville State just joined. We've got Jacksonville State at home this year. They've got one of the best offensive linemen in the game. Some of those teams have come in and compete. Liberty hasn't been around, and they dominate. They went 13-0 last year and went to the Fiesta Bowl and got smacked by Oregon. I'll throw it out there again every time I have a chance to say it. But they still went 13-0. I mean, you got to respect the fact that they went undefeated through the league, won their conference championship, and then got rewarded with going to, one of the biggest bowls there is. And they're the favorite again this year. Them and Boise State are the favorite from the group of 5. And most people don't realize one of those teams is going to the playoffs. One of those teams from the group of 5 is going to the playoffs. It doesn't matter if it's Boise State, if it's going to be Appalachian State, which probably Appalachian State and Liberty actually play each other this year head to head. So that's going to go a long way in deciding which one of them might actually make the playoffs. So Liberty, App State, James Madison kind of dropped off. I mean, their head coach just went to Indiana and brought 13 guys from James Madison with him to Indiana. UTSA, so Texas San Antonio, legit chance of winning their conference. Memphis, you can't forget about the Tigers. They're preseason top 40. So there's a lot of guys a lot of teams who are going to be playing for that chance to be a spoiler, because it's ingrained in our brain that 12 teams are going to the playoffs. And just think, if you're that number 12 team and you're from a Power 5 conference, say, for instance, Louisville, we're at number 12. And all our fans are going to believe that, hey, University of Louisville, we're going to playoffs this year, guys. We're in. Say we go 11-1 or whatever, and we lose to Clemson or Florida State in the conference championship game. Again, like we did. We lost Florida State last year. But we dropped to number 12. People, yes, we're in the playoffs. And then you're going to find out on Selection Sunday or whatever the heck they do it, Liberty, who might be ranked number 24, leapfrogs everybody and becomes the number 12 team. That's going to suck. I mean, whoever you are, it doesn't matter. Now, go and look at this video. You see, this is kind of where he kind of gamed the system a little bit, and he's
once I get more. The preseason is an incredibly important time for the recruiting stages. The reason for this is you have more recruiting hours to spend here than you would during a regular week because your team's not preparing for games kind of thing. But you can see this up on the top right. At Kennesaw State, we have 450 hours to spend right now. Now, your recruiting hours is directly tied to your team prestige. So if you're a team like Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, those like 5-star programs, those schools have way more resources to use. So their recruiting hours is like probably 1,000 or more. So that's more than double what we have to use.
So just chiming in on what he just said, in the deep dive, Dynasty deep dive, they talked about this specific information was that 5-star programs, they will have 1,000 hours at their disposal during a preseason. On the flip side, if you're a 1-star program, you're only going to have 350 hours. Now, I saw on here it said 450. Maybe they've adjusted it. And I think maybe he got some bonus hours because of he stacked recruiting. So maybe that gave him another 100 hours. But, you know, according to the deep dive, a 1-star program gets 350 hours. And what that does is EA is trying to make sure that elite programs stay elite. So they have the huge advantages. You know, you can't really come in this game and show that a team has more money and all that stuff. They've got more resources. So the way they do it is they just throw more hours at them. And, you know, if say, for instance, that you're Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, any of those teams, what happens is now I can recruit 20 players for the max 50 hours apiece. 20 times 50 is 1,000. Whereas if you're throwing all your max points without any recruiting bonuses and all that stuff, if you're throwing your max points, you've got 350 hours. It means I can only talk to 7 players for the max of 50 hours. So you're at a huge disadvantage. Now, what Drew did, and this was a problem and an issue on NCAA Football 14, and we thought this was eradicated. And a lot of people will consider it, and I know that there's messages in chat about it, that he cheesed the system. And he did. I mean, it wholeheartedly it is. And there's some back and forth, and I've been involved in it, and I don't have no personal animosity toward anyone. It's not, anything I say is not in anger or hate. But my problem is I shouldn't have to make house rules to go into my dynasty with 31 other users and then go police their actions. You're a grown-ass man. Excuse my language. You're a grown man. You're playing this game. You're expecting everyone to play, you know, and do stuff. I shouldn't have to worry about, hey, is this guy over here looking at a guy that's actually a 5-star and no one else in the country is recruiting? Why ain't no one recruiting this guy? Like, if you're in real life, everybody and their mom is recruiting every 4- and 5-star athlete. Like, they're receiving letters from the time they're in 8th grade. They are getting recruited. I'll say it again. I coached high school football 20 years. I've had freshmen receiving letters if they're worth anything. So you want me to believe that I come into a game and someone overlooked a 5-star in it, and he wasn't even from Atlanta. That's the thing. This ain't like this guy got the pipeline and he got an advantage. His pipeline was he wanted to stay close to home, which was Louisville-Kentucky. A 5-star got out of Kentucky, out of Louisville, and the University of Louisville didn't recruit him. The University of Kentucky, who is average at best, didn't recruit him. Western Kentucky, Cincinnati, IU. Nobody recruited him, and he ends up at Kennesaw State. Give me a freaking break, man. Give me a break. That's my problem. So yeah, he cheesed it. I mean, but this game has been made where they're trying to help the user. They want you to have and enjoy your experience. So there's a handful of 4-stars every year that no one's ever going to recruit. And if you can sit there and identify them, you're going to sign them. and there's a term for it. I mean, buddy, I know what goes on. I don't know. I know that someone put out a tweet this morning that had, here's 10 things from Madden that, you college football players don't know about. Whatever, man. I mean, talking about double Mabel and stuff. Double Mabel. What's double Mabel in college football or Madden on the video game is not double Mabel in real life in coverage. It's what they're calling it on the game. But anyway, getting back to this was like, really? So there's a laundry list of guys every year that no one's ever going to recruit. Now, it's not going to happen in the actual 31, 32-man dynasty. People will be jumping all over these players. But this guy cheesed the heck out of it. And it worked to his advantage, and he was able to put out content and show some people. And I think maybe it awoke the developers. They put out, a message today, Drew did, saying EA knows it's an issue. They're going to try to have a day one patch. I don't know if it will be patched on day one. I hope to God it is, because I don't want to go start a dynasty and then, we're 7 weeks in before the next patch comes out a month from now, the second patch. And we're already 8 weeks into a dynasty, and, we've got all these issues where people have already signed, players. That's my problem. And then looking at, some of this stuff, there was a player on here. And I haven't really been paying attention to the video. It's just been playing in the background for you guys to have some eye candy. Is that there was a player that was listed as a 100 speed. It's like, wait a minute. I've been playing this football game, college football, since it was Bill Walsh in 1991. And then it went to College Football USA. Then it became the NCAA Football Series. And now we have the development after 11 years off that they're calling it. They've rebranded it. It's now EA Sports College Football 25. But for the first time ever, I saw a player that had 100 speed. I'm like, I put out a tweet immediately. I saw this video. I was watching it live when he was doing it. I was like, are you kidding me? We've got a guy. We've got the first 100. We've got 100. And they're coming to find out it was a glitch. Just like in his, in the Dynasty, he went through all the stats and, he's like, guys, there was only 6 defensive touchdowns all year. Evidently, because it is an early version, they didn't calculate all the stats correctly. So that's why we had some of the nuances with some bad information there. So the screen wasn't matching up to what the actual database is. But as far as, what Drew did is he focused on 6 or 7 players and was able to go sign a 5-star quarterback and 4 other 4-stars. The bigger problem was that he ignored his needs, his position needs. And you see down here in the left corner of this screen that I'm looking at, in the bottom of the screen, it has back and then it says team needs. If you would click your right thumbstick, push that in, it's going to take you to another screen. And it would show you what position needs you have. And for instance, he didn't have a fullback. He said that proudly whenever he first got, signed up with the Dynasty. He's like, I'm going to go get me a fullback. And I think he was able to recruit one, and it should be hard. I mean, there's not that many fullbacks in the database. I mean, a lot of teams don't even carry fullbacks. So, I mean, if you have like a run and shoot offense or something, you're never going to see a fullback. It's not going to be a position need. If you're running a spread offense, you're going to need 10 wide receivers. But if you're running something that's more under center, if you're running one of these option offenses, you only need 6 receivers. So, but yeah, I mean, he had like a 56 overall defensive end and didn't recruit the positions. Like, what are you doing? I mean, you're going to keep playing against the likes of Georgia because they're in your state and you've got a 56 out there defensive end. Dude, go sign a 2-star. Go sign a 3-star. I mean, you sign somebody who has a pulse. And, just for the fact that he put out content, he was able to go sign a spectacular class. But I think he also, unfortunately, what's going on, O-Dog? Legend in the house, man. I know Operation Sports sent me and you both shout-outs today. They put out the newsletter for the first time in a while and talked about Big Will. They mentioned O-Dog and fact that he's back and releasing content. And salute to Operation Sports. They actually recognized me as a legend in that letter. So at least someone in the gaming community, a community that has over 1 million members on the Operation Sports forums, recognized me for my contributions to the community. So I wholeheartedly respect Operation Sports. Chase and Steve Noah for giving me my flowers today. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Being recognized. That means a lot to me. I don't do this for recognition or anything, but it is always nice for people to say hello, say thank you for your contributions. If any of you guys don't know, I put out rosters for NCAA football for 12 years, totally free of charge. Now, people could make donations. They could send money my way. We didn't have tips and all this stuff like we got today in social media where guys can go on here and not know a damn thing about football, don't even know how to pick up a stick and do anything, and yet they're a social media king and queen, and they're put out there and they have 1 million followers, and they couldn't tell you how to turn on the Xbox, but yet they've got a huge following because they've got management behind them who does everything for them. And then they go play video games against people and get totally blown out, whatever. It's not a shot at anyone in particular, but that's what happens. But then you've got someone like me who plays this game, lives this game, breathes this game, and, hadn't been, invited to EA in a number of years until this past spring. So, for Operation Sports, for Madden Mania, places like that I grew up with in this game, man. NCAA Mania, the Gaming Tailgate, Bert Ingley over at VG Sports, they put out Prima guides for years. For all those guys to recognize me and, acknowledge me and my contributions, I really respect that, guys. So, anyway, not to go off on that tangent, I just saw O-Dog's in here. Make sure you guys go check out his site. I'll put a link down in my comments. He has been helping me. We actually did an interview in 2009. Fabulous. We posted on YouTube. I had I think it actually might have went to ESPN. So I was recognized on ESPN, Kotaku, IGN back in the day. All the big gaming franchises and publications recognized me and my contribution to this game way before now. I mean, if social media was around when I was back doing this stuff for real, I'd have had 500,000 visitors or followers. I used to have 100,000 unique viewers come to my website every day for rosters. So Bordeaux, man, it's not a straight Bordeaux. It's just, that dude. Hey, man, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. We witnessed a murder on live TV, man. A live stream. I watched someone actually get killed, and the fact that we watched that, honestly, I went to call Child Protective Service. Because what Donovan Edwards did to him, holy cow, he was beating him in front of everybody. We all witnessed Donovan Edwards take a belt off and smack Bordeaux. But, hey, that dude, man, hey, I know that he was trying to do some things, and he took a lot of strays, and I rib him. I sent him messages and stuff like that. So the fact that he's blowing up from, I think he started on Instagram or something like that, where he's at now from his beginnings, humble beginnings, that dude's doing a great job. I love it. But yeah, hey, state of the franchise. Dude, me and you go back and forth and exchange messages, and I respect you, man. Dude, tip of the hat. Yeah, call the coroner, man. Someone needs to go get that body. It's still warm. And, he's got to come back and maybe redeem himself tomorrow. I hope to God he does, man. But yeah, Shaq, you got it. 56 points given up for 3 minutes in the third quarter, dude. That dude threw a couple of picks. What are you doing? Are you even looking at the defensive coverage? I know you can't run up the middle against Michigan. They got 2 of the top 4 defensive tackles on the game. Dude, what are you doing? I hadn't played the game yet, but I've played football, Madden, college football. It doesn't change, man. You sit there, if you can't run the ball, and in his situation, I'd be running the ball and stuff like that just to try to run some of that clock because you're getting smacked. But you're sitting there just throwing the ball to him left and right. He's got defensive tackles running in for touchdowns. And it's not meant as strays, man. Y'all are crazy. I just tell it the way it is, man. If that's facts, it's facts. It is what it is. But I'm excited, man. You can sit there and see the smile on my face. The only thing I'm disappointed is that I couldn't track down a copy of this game early. I had $400 or $500 in my pocket for anyone that could have got me this game. I'll drive somewhere and go pick it up so I can play tomorrow. So if any of you guys work at Best Buy, GameStop, Walmart, whatever, I'm not breaking no laws, but I'm paying you for full price for a game. Pocket the money, and next week, just give me the game, and then you can sit there and scan it. So ain't no one, breaking street dates. Not saying let's do anything illegal, man, but it's a video game. I did this for 12 straight years. I had this game early. This is the first year that I haven't had the game a week before release. And sometimes I got it from a direct source. I got this game 7 to 10 days early every year. So getting back to
is 20 overall points higher than us. They're the #1 ranked team in the country, and their Stadium Pulse, aka their toughest place to play ranking, is top 10.
Hello and welcome to Athens, Georgia, the classic city and a classic day for.
Look at this intro, man. I mean, dude, this is jaw-dropping.
As the Georgia Bulldogs set to tee it up at Sanford Stadium to start this season. Today's matchup, a battle in the Peach State, and when you square off against another team that was raised on the red clay, the emotion runs a little deeper. As we'll see a squad from Conference USA, the Kennesaw State Owls, taking on the #1 team in the land, the Georgia Bulldogs.
Hey, man, you got to tip your hat to Kennesaw State, though, man. Their social media team has been enjoying this. I mean, this is their first year at big-time football, and they've been involved. They've been putting out tweets and messages. I mean, they even recognized, Drew for, him playing with Kennesaw State in the Dynasty. So there's a lot of teams that aren't using college football, the platform that we have. So Hunter, you're asking, how are you playing? I'm not playing the game. I visited EA Sports. That's all I can say. But there are guys that had gone to EA down in May, and they were able to play the game for 2 hours, and they watched a 2-hour presentation of Dynasty mode. So, they got to play Madden and play college football for 2 hours. And they had focuses. That's the thing, is that some guys got to play Dynasty, some guys got to play Road to Glory, some guys just concentrated on head-to-head, some of them played Road to the Playoffs. Everyone's given some kind of focus. So when they try to put out all these, reports, write-ups, do videos, reaction videos, that everyone has a focus. You don't want all 35 people who visited to all do the same thing. So that's how. And then last week, either July 2nd, July 3rd, EA invited some media and content creators again to play the game. Now, I'm pretty sure that Drew played his in person on maybe the second or third, and they allowed him to record some of this content. He played like 4 or 5 games. This was his dynasty that he focused on with Kennesaw State. But he talked about, and I know everyone's like, he cheesed. Yeah, he did. He cheesed the hell out of the game. He cheesed the hell out of recruiting, and he went after the players. And, bless your heart, if you're in a one-man dynasty, do what you got to do, man. If that means you're going to enjoy the game and you're going to go sign 4 and 5 stars, whatever. But when you're in a 32-man dynasty, or 12-man dynasty, and you're playing with your boys, I don't think it's fair. I mean, I shouldn't have to tell a grown man that, hey, you can't do this. I mean, they don't know. Some of these guys are bums fresh off the street. They don't know what's going on. I'm like, hey, look what I found. I thought I was good. I just found someone else no one else wanted. No, the game is giving you these players on a silver platter just because they've programmed the game that way. Yeah, I mean, I saw it. Dude did throw a dot. Bordeaux threw a dot with viewers, and he's like, I don't know what I did. I just pressed a button. He panicked. He was in pure panic mode at that point. And when you have all that pressure coming at you, the game does speed up, as a quarterback, and you're not used to all that. And it's kind of reminiscent of, back in the day with Madden. I mean, the defensive line, you used to have a second and a half to throw the ball. I mean, you had to know where you're going with the ball pre-snap. And there's so many people that don't know how to read coverages. They don't know that cover 2 is going to be lined up at 5 yards. Cover 3 is going to be at 8 yards. If you're playing man-to-man 2 deep, there are visual cues to let you know what the coverage is. The fact that they're giving us a chance now to put in, in shell, and you can do disguises is great. But even with all the disguises, I can't believe that EA removed baseline and they removed show blitz. It's like, if you want to use the shell and you want to use that concept, that's great. Go for it. But what happened was, in my opinion, that's all it is. It's my opinion. And everyone can have one. And you can be right, wrong, or indifferent. You can agree with me or disagree. I don't care one way or another. But what I believe is EA struggled with trying to figure out on Madden how to get rid of all the meta with everyone just blitzing and bringing a house and playing 4 guys behind in coverage. Everyone's playing DB fire, line up in 3-2-6 and running DB fire. Well, instead of them fixing the blocking and protection and sliding and running back staying in and blocking and doing all that stuff, because what everyone does is they press, they show blitz, pinch the line, all that stuff, crash in, whatever. I don't have to give you the blueprint. You played the game long enough, all these things. I'm not telling you something new. It's not like I invented, the wheel. But if you've played, you've seen the game. Either you've done it yourself or you're playing people who do those kind of things. But EA, instead of going in and fixing those, the easiest way they could fix something is we're going to remove something else. Really? So instead of fixing blocking and whatever, and I love EA, don't get me wrong. I mean, God dog it, man. I hated 2K games and stuff. But don't take out something. Don't take out show blitz. Don't take out, baseline. If there's people who are terrible and that's what they have to do, let them do it. I mean, if that's what they got to do, there's ways to beat it. But this show, the shell coverages, I like it. And you're going to see a lot more movement. You're going to see guys coming down in the box, doing some pointing, looking to the sideline. There's going to be guys looking at the sideline. The ball's going to be snapped, and you're going to be pissed. The first time that you see this in the game and you're playing, and you're at, say, Texas, and your guys are looking to the sideline, or Texas A&M because they got the number one, home field advantage. And your guys are sitting there looking at the sideline, the ball snapped, and they're already running the ball. The guy's got a 5-yard gain before your guy even reacts. You're going to be like, what just happened? And it's programmed in the game. And it does happen in football. They can't simulate guys running on the field late. It happens. There's guys that play in real life. You'll see a play, and guys got either 12 guys on the field or 10 guys on the field. They ain't got enough. Guys are running on late. So for them to simulate situations like that, randomly, you're going to have a guy look over to the sideline, looking for the call, and the ball is going to be snapped. And you're going to be like, what? It's going to be one of the moments like, oh, wow, that just really happened? You're going back and watch the replay, like, what just happened? But it is what it is, man. It gives the game a little bit of realism. So whatever. Some people are asking me, what teams am I going to be using? First off, I've got a 12-man Dynasty. And we're doing an in-person draft. And I'm going to let this video play a little bit more. I know that we were going through this video real quick. It's showing the recruiting and how you can stack. So I don't know if I can rewind that real quick. There was something that popped up that was pretty interesting. All right. So at the bottom here, and then I'll carry on with what I was saying. So as a passing game recruiter, if your focus is quarterbacks, that's your position group. If you're offensive coordinator and your specialty is you've got the quarterback group, the head coach might have the receivers or whatever. But say that your offensive coordinator is your quarterback coach. You see he's got the quarterback passing game abilities. But when you have this ability at the bottom that says always be recruiting, and that's for the quarterback. Now, it's for all positions. They've got running back, wide receiver, whatever. But when you get that chance to grab a tier 3, when you can grab always be recruiting, get that every time, all day, every day, because that is a boost. That gives you an extra 10 or 20 hours a week to recruit. So, you want to sit there and make sure that you're grabbing that as an option, and it doesn't matter if your head coach is a recruiter, you're still going to get branches in motivator and tactician. But you're not getting the full array of what those abilities, coaching abilities, will open up. So I just want to bring that back, and because that video was playing in the background. As far as what team, like I said, we've got a 12-man Dynasty. It might still go to 16, but it's going to be an in-person draft. So these are all guys that I've grown up with, played with, coached. Some of them are former players. Some of them are guys that I played semi-pro football. I coached football for 20 years. So, there's guys that have been on my staff in the past that are going to play. So we're going to treat this like it's a fantasy football draft. I've got, hold on, man. I got the ping pong balls. We're going to put them in, draw them out. It's going to be just like the NBA draft. I've got stickers. which I don't know where they're at exactly, but we're treating this, we've got a draft board. Had a custom make it, but it's done. It's got some EA branding on it. We're probably going to live stream that event. I've got a sponsor, Tony Satchery. I say that, but he's sending me some seasoning, man. So I'm not getting paid anything else. So I say that in good natured humor. I've known Doug. He's been the commissioner of my leagues for years, but he is the president and CEO of Tony Satchery Cajun Seasoning. He's going to send me some stuff for the draft party. We're going to play cornhole and cut it up. But at the end of the day, we're there for the draft, and we're going to draft teams, and it's random. I mean, I know I've got some teams in my mind that I would like, but I have no idea how I'm going to finish. I mean, I might end up with the 12th or 16th pick, and I'm pulling the scraps. Now, something we are doing. If it's a 12-team draft, which right now that's what it looks like, we're heading toward, because I need guys that's going to be there every, play multiple games a week. I need guys that I can trust and bank on to play. So we're going to use 4 conferences. We're going to have the ACC, the Big 10, the Big 12. Last night I said the Big East, and I got ridiculed for it. University of Louisville used to be in the Big East. So ACC, Big 10, Big 12, and the SEC. And we're going to limit each one of those conferences to 3 teams per conference. Because what I don't want is, I don't want the conferences to be unbalanced. I don't want 8 teams in the SEC, 2 teams in the Big 10, 2 teams in the ACC. It brings down the whole brand of football. You tear down the whole conference. So we're going to try to give everybody, and what we hope happens is the top 2 teams get to play each other in the conference championship, and that third team, buddy, we're going to clown you and make fun of you and whatever. But we also have some rules in effect for scheduling as well. So, we've got basically 3 teams in 4 conferences. And then if, depending on how you finish, it'll be like the NFL schedule. We're on a rotating basis on scheduling games. So the conference champs, those 4 teams will play each other the next year. And the bottom dwellers, and I say that's the guys who finished third, they'll play each other. So we're trying to knock some guys off their pedestal, give guys that might not be as successful. Guys will probably be fired in year 3 because they're not very good. We'll give those guys a chance to at least beat somebody. I mean, sure, there's going to be a couple guys that never win a user game probably. But we're giving them a chance to play people who are on their level. To make it fun and keep guys around. Nay, we are playing for money, though. It's $20 a person for every season. Not just, it's $20 for the whole 20 years. No, every year you're upping a $20 fee to play. And the majority of that money is going back to the champ and the runner-up. You want to make money? Ain't no 8th place trophies over here. We ain't doing that. I ain't giving nobody money for 3rd place. I ain't giving nobody money because they won a Heisman. You want money? You want to sit there and get a reward, get a trophy? You better win the damn thing. That's all I can say. We're here for that and some good trash talk. But O-Dog is inviting me to play in his league. I don't know if he was on here when I said it. That's going to be some lesser teams. So I'm going to enjoy using like a Texas San Antonio or a Tulane. I don't know where they're going to be rated, but man, they're high up on some of my dynasties. Here's this quarterback. So this is where all the drama come from in Drew's video. Is that, where he gamed it. And this was really baffling to me in some way, because when Drew went in originally, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, go down in the comments and let me know. I mean, I actually read the comments. I'm sitting there trying to focus and talk, and I get sidetracked. So I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm trying to keep up and do multitask. But anyway, let me know for sure. But I could have swore when he set up his first visit that NotTheExpert, that Drew had scheduled Liberty at first. And then he later on remembers, like, you know what? Why should I risk playing a tough team and Liberty is a borderline top 25 team. Why should I play Liberty, who's a low prestige team, and he only gets 3, arrows up, where I can go play Sam Houston, who sucks this year, who's 1-7, and then also I get 3 thumbs up. Why should I risk, losing? Because when you recruit, you want to make sure you win that game. You want to make sure that you win the game. So he gamed the system in that way as well. Let me see. I'm trying to read. I see someone's commenting on Shaq. Shaq's been active in here, and he's active in Twitter as well, man. The guy stays on me for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's going to have to be house rules. I mean, that's probably facts for sure. But yeah, I mean, Drew gamed the system, and he's played with this game long enough to know, so he knew some of the workarounds. And even if he didn't, someone probably schooled him to him, was like, hey, try this, this, and this. I'm sure it's going to work. And if you do, then we know the recruiting system is broke. Thanks, Adrian. I appreciate that, man. And for all you guys, make sure that you're hitting like and subscribe and comment down below. If you subscribe, it's totally free, man. My brother, God bless his heart, man. I'm going to say he's special. We tell everyone he came from a small neighborhood, but he rode the small bus to school. Whatever. I mean, I'm not, that's a straight up my brother. And he knows I love him. I'm just joking with him. But we were in the car the other day, and he's like, dude, he said, I'm not paying to subscribe to your page, man. He said, I look at your ugly mug all the time. I'm like, not going to throw his name out there. I was like, dude, it's free. So guys, if you're coming in here and you're watching the video, give me a thumbs up, man. Hit subscribe. I hate begging for anything, but what it does is it helps the YouTube algorithm. The more people that like my videos, that join, once I get to 1,000 subscribers, then I can start profiting from these videos as far as with advertisements and maybe put a tip jar on the screen where you guys could actually donate if you enjoy this stuff. It just helps me out. It makes sure that more people who enjoy my kind of content, I know I'm not for everybody. It is what it is. I mean, you go watch who you want. I know some of these younger cats like, dude, why is this old dude on here, man? He's a fossil talking about football. He don't know nothing. You're right. I don't. I mean, I coached high school football for 20 years, played semi-pro. I actually got off the couch, went outside and did something with my life. And been gaming for 30 plus years. But if you don't want to listen to me, hey, I'm not for everyone. Shut it off right now and, go watch one of these jokers who don't know nothing. And they're doing a TikTok video. But, it's your free choice. But I think and what EA has realized is that I cater to a different kind of audience. I'm not for everyone. If you're 35 and older, 30 and older, come watch my videos. I mean, we're going to tell you the straight up facts. I'm not going to sit here and BS you. I'm not here to hurt anyone's feelings, but evidently I do sometimes. But I'm just telling it the way it is. That's the way I was brought up. I'm not changed for anyone. I have no filter, never had a filter. I'm going to keep doing it, what I do. If you don't like it, go watch somebody else. But anyway, I mean, not to go on a rant or anything like that. That's just the way I am. It's the way I've always been. I'm going to kick it to you, keep it real. I don't need to sit there and all day be, rainbows and unicorns and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, this guy gamed the system. He knows he gamed the system, and so does everyone else. And I don't need house rules. I really don't. I mean, if you guys sit here and come in here and make house rules, then there's a problem. And EA knows it. I'm not here to break down, and I love EA. This is not a hate EA video. It never will be. There's plenty of guys that's their niche. That's all they do is badmouth EA. They hate Madden. I'm firing up Madden every year. I'd rather play college football day and night and never have to play Madden. But for the last 11 years, I had no other option. So I played Madden. I played Ultimate Team. Believe it or not, I loved Ultimate Team. I thought it was garbage. When this was on NCAA 14 and 13, I was like, this mode is booty. I'm not playing this. I'm not doing it. And then, buddy, I got into playing Ultimate Team, and it's all I do. I don't play franchise mode. I don't go play head-to-head against all these clowns. I'm playing Ultimate Team. I'm doing solo battles, and I'm playing, the challenges. I'll get on there and play weekend league and beat the heck out of 8-year-olds. I don't care, man. It's just like my kids growing up. I ain't never let them beat me at anything. I don't care if we're playing Connect 4, if we're playing checkers, if I'm playing my son that gets mad in college football, whatever. Buddy, Adrian, have a good weekend, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. But yeah, I mean, I'm here. I'm going to beat the hell out of him. You got to earn it. If we're playing basketball, my daughter was 6 years old and I was coaching her. She'd go for a layup and I would throw that thing 7 rows up into the stands. It's like, I'm blocking your shot. There's no freebies here. You've got to learn how to get a shot up over it. My son playing football, I'd smack the hell out of him. I was his coach. So I was coaching, varsity football and also coaching youth league and helping kids out. 45 kids on the team. Imagine trying to have 45 kids playing, and keeping everyone involved and all happy. You just got to do what you got to do. And some of them I tell them, hey, football ain't for you, buddy. You might need to go over and play soccer. I mean, but you might not even need to be in an athletic sport at all. Tell your mom and dad, sign you up and you go underwater basket weaving. Just don't drown. I mean, it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. But I ain't letting nobody win. I don't care who it is. So that's just facts. And, kids get on there, you suck. I play Madden, like, you need to go back and play college football. Yeah, okay, say what you want. I ran the ball, had a balanced offense, and I just beat you by 7 touchdowns, and I suck? No, you need to quit playing the game. Go play Call of Duty or go something else. In fact, I don't even give you Call of Duty. Go play that booty game that you guys are sliding down and all that stuff, that free game. I mean, come on, Apex. Go play that. Get off a real game, man. You have no sports inclination. Get outside. Go outside. Get off the couch and go outside. But anyway, this game is going to be legit. I mean, I'm glad that we have staff that you can control. Now, if you're listening to this, you're watching this video, bless your heart. You're spending a Friday night with me. It keeps me out of my wife's hair. I mean, she's in there watching TV, and thank God I'm distracted right now doing some of this stuff. But yeah, I mean, be careful. And I say this, giving advice. I try to give tips and strategy. Realize that in this dynasty mode, that, yeah, you can fire whoever you want, bring in whatever staff. But there are consequences for all your actions. So, like, if you have an offensive coordinator, they have relationships. So if your OC brought in a quarterback and, say, a receiver, if you fire that guy when the bowl games are over, that's the only time you can get rid of him. If you fire him, now you put that quarterback and wide receiver at risk of jumping in the transfer portal and following that coach wherever he goes. So, yeah, you can get rid of that recruiter and bring in a tactician or someone else. Just know that when you do that, you could lose players, which is realistic. In college football, more than anything else, these 18, 19, 20-year-old football players, I'm not going to call them kids. I'm not calling them kids. They're not. They're grown men. If you can go off to war and fight at 18 years old, you're a grown man. If you can start drinking at 21, you're going out to the bars, you're not a kid. And people hate, I go on my own, I get up on my pedestal and say some things, but I get aggravated. These guys, good win for Western Kentucky. Let's go Hilltoppers. And on that note, I'm actually going to Bowling Green to watch Western Kentucky and Kennesaw State play this year on October 30th. So I can't wait to go down to the Hill to watch that game. But getting back to what I was saying, we're paying players now, right? We're paying players. We're giving them NIL benefits. Some schools like Miami are paying everyone on their team to go advertise and tweet and stuff about a gym. University of Louisville, we've got NIL packages for everybody. They're not kids. If you're making more than what I'm making, and I'm a grown man who's been working for 32 years, and you're making $200,000 a year or $1 million a year, and I can't criticize you, get the hell out of Dodge, man. Y'all need to grow up. If you can go out and make money for what you're doing, and that's your job, you don't want to call it a job. If you're getting paid to play college football, don't get around it. There's nothing twisted about this. You're getting paid to play college football. I don't care if you're 18, 19, 20. You're getting paid. You're an employee of the schools. Now, you're getting paid indirectly from the school. They're the ones who broker all these deals. Don't let all this stuff. I know, because I'm a part of a collective that actually paid a player to not even visit a school because we didn't want the coach at said school to have any success. And the fastest way we can get them out of Dodge is to recruit against our own school. $2 million so he doesn't take a visit to our school and he goes to other schools. Okay? I'll put that out there. It happened. That's facts. But these guys are getting paid to play football, to play basketball. No one cares about baseball. No one cares about the damn softball team at Oklahoma. No one cares about that. At the end of the day, football pays the bills. University of Louisville is the highest revenue sport basketball program in the country. Kentucky fans get pissed at it when it's said, but University of Louisville is the highest revenue basketball team in the country. And no one gives a damn. We're still like 35 for eyeballs for football. Football pays the bills. Football pays the bills. Never forget that. It's great we got Olympic sports. Let them have, Title IX and all that stuff. It's not nothing against women. Cheerleading, dance teams. I mean, we've got a national champion program here at University of Louisville. Won like 20 plus championships. I ain't going to a football game to watch the dance team. How many of you guys are sitting there at the dance recitals going and watching the cheer competition? You ain't. 100,000 people are going to watch football. And I've got guys now that are watching these videos, and much respect, I was blown away. I was talking to a guy last night on this chat that was from Australia. I got another guy who's in my comments who's following me who's from the UK. I watched a reaction video from a guy in England the other day who was talking about, I'm going to pause this. I had a guy from a UK that was watching videos like, I couldn't believe watching the SEC and the Big Ten, Big House, and the entrances of these games. He's like, y'all do this for every game, or is this just championship games? Like, no, this is every game. We've got guys running down a hill at Clemson. We've got 2001 Space Odyssey going on at South Carolina. We've got Into the Sandman going on at Virginia Tech. We got the Joker and Thief here at the University of Louisville. You got Miami running out with the smoke at the U. You got Oklahoma running out Boomer Schooner. Let's go. Texas running out behind Bevo. Proud traditions in college football. Proud traditions in the South. They don't understand it, man. Their college athletes don't go to school and get scholarships. They're blown away like, wait a minute. I had a conversation last night. I was on here last night at midnight. 150 people watched me, whatever. And dude's like, wait a minute. Your college players get scholarships to go to school to play football and basketball? Yeah, it's like also half of them get paid to go to play baseball and women's basketball. Yes. And they don't understand it because their prodigies are playing in academies at 9 and 10 years old. But that's separate from scholastics. Like their school, now they go to academy and they might, be private tutored and stuff like that. They're still getting taught, but it's not in the same capacity that we do here in the United States. And it's all, we've got guys playing NFL playing college that want to go to the NFL, and it's the 1% of the 1%. And they all have this dream that they're all going to go to the NFL or NBA. And the harsh reality is you're not. Be happy that you're getting paid a scholarship to go to school because that's what's building your relationships. Now, someone commented, I hope, and I don't think they are. Someone said, is coaches going to be in the game? I don't believe coaches are in the game. I'm hoping that we can edit them. I want to put the names in the game. I mean, buddy, I can't put names on rosters. I can't do anything like that this year. But I do want a level of realism. I mean, I want to go in there and for the University of Louisville, put Jeff Brom as a quarterback. I mean, as the coach, not quarterback, former quarterback at U of L, but as our head coach. I would love to put Jeff Brom as the head coach at the University of Louisville. I would love to go in there and put Kiffin as the head coach at Ole Miss. Hey, every day I wake up happy as hell that Scott Satterfield is the head coach at Cincinnati. Thank you so much, Cincinnati, for paying $3 million to take Scott Satterfield off our hands and go be a bum at Cincinnati. Bum. That dude showed up at the University of Louisville and was here for 1 year and was already going down to North Carolina State and interviewing for another job, man. He never wanted to be here. Thank God y'all took that bum off our hands. I wake up every morning on my knees and thank God that Cincinnati saved us, and now we've got Jeff Brom at head coach at University of Louisville, man. throwing shade, and that's what that is. That dude is terrible. One-dimensional coach. He runs 3 plays, rinse and repeat. Run to the short side of the field all day. That's all Scott Satterfield does. And every once in a while, he'll throw the ball over top and put the ball on the roof. Terrible. Terrible. Cincinnati's going to be a bum as long as he's the head coach. And that's why I paused this screen. You see the top schools here, App State, Oregon State. Who's at the bottom of this list, number 50? Cincinnati. Trash. I'll talk trash about them all day. Memphis State. Ain't no Memphis State. Rival. We go back to Metro days. We used to play Virginia Tech. Florida State was in the Metro before they jetted off to what they did. Southern Miss played them. Those are rivals. Bad blood still to this day. We ain't in the same conference. Louisville fans hate Cincinnati. We hate Memphis State. Don't get that twisted. Tulane was in our conference. Didn't care about Tulane. This back when they had Hot Rod Williams, were paying players and got it, in big trouble in basketball. But anyway, hate Cincinnati. We used to play for the Keg and Nails. Now they're off in the damn. Now they just joined, the Big 12. Put them on the schedule. I would love to whip them. Let's go. Pure hate. I mean, in my eyes, that's my son. Cincinnati, always. We own them. We own Memphis. So, back to Drew's video, man. I mean, here's the playoffs, and we see how this shakes out. Now, I'll break this down real quick because a lot of people don't know, and I didn't know. I mean, I sat there and I put out a tweet. Actually put stuff on a whiteboard at work. I mean, I'm using my time at work. I mean, don't tell my boss. Oh, wait, I'm the boss. So I'm sitting there trying to get our dynasty ready, and I'm going through all of our actions. And what I forgot about this is that when you get to the playoffs, the 4 conference champions, okay, from the Power 5, Pac-12's excluded, Pac-2, but the Big 10, the ACC, the Big 12, and this is jacked up. This is not accurate. Because the ACC automatically has a team who gets a bye. The conference champions from the Power 4 get a bye. So this should be, honestly, if I'm looking at this, I hope they fix it. This is not accurate. Michigan should be number 1. Alabama should be 2. Texas Tech should be the 3 seed, and Clemson should be the 4 seed. And while Appalachian State makes the playoffs, that's fine. They get rated. So I know it's the early version of the game, but this version is not accurate. Go look it up yourselves. I mean, that's the one thing that they did when they made this, what was originally called the 5+7 rule, which included, adding the group of 5, their champion. It doesn't matter if the best team is 7-5 and they're ranked number 50 overall. The highest ranked team from the group of 5, which includes, App State, Boise State, Memphis State, Tulane, James Madison, schools like that, Liberty, they make the playoffs, but they cannot be a top 4 seed. The same is that Notre Dame, which they're not on this, they didn't make it, but say, for instance, if Notre Dame qualifies for the college football playoffs, they cannot be a top 4 seed. These top 4 seeds all get home field advantage in the quarterfinals. So this is broke right now. Looking at this screenshot, this is broke. Shaq, so you're saying the group of 5, I could have swore, I just looked this up. And I'm not going to go look it up. I'm pretty certain, but maybe I'm wrong. But I just did this because I put out a tweet and someone corrected me on the tweet. It was like, dude, you have that wrong, because if I think that Liberty was on the other one was ranked number 4. So I could be wrong. And if I am, this never happened. Y'all forget all this ever happened. I didn't say this. Okay? Y'all tweaking. But I know Notre Dame can't. They can't be one of the conference champions. But I also thought that this is how the Power 5 was still trying to control college football, was that they were always going to get the conference champions of the ACC, Big 10, Big 12, SEC are controlling and manipulating the system. They all at least get one provision, which is home field advantage. And then everything else goes from there. So, Shaq, you're right. I'm not even looking it up. I'll just say you're right. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. Real quick, real talk. So today at work, I go to lunch. We went to Panda. And I opened up a fortune cookie. And it didn't say Fairdale Kings on it, but it stated, you're going to be wrong and own up to that mistake. I'm wrong. I don't think I am, but I'm wrong. But yeah, I know Notre Dame. But yeah, I mean, Clemson shouldn't be 9-2. I mean, unless someone went in and jacked up the schedules, what happened. So they jacked up the schedules, and they also didn't get to play probably in a conference championship game, because you see that. But North Carolina's down here playing 11 games. I mean, they should have, if they're in it, probably Clemson should have had 13 games played. North Carolina probably 13. I mean, look, man, I saw a video the other day that had Boston College was in the playoffs. That's where all this came from, was like when I looked and I saw that Boston College was the number 7 team in the country, and I looked at their schedule like, they'll never make the playoffs. Just looking at their schedule, it means they would have lost to Florida State, Virginia Tech, and like Clemson. So those 3 losses got them in over Clemson. I mean, they beat Clemson in the ACC championship game, which I guess leapfrogged them. But they never should have been in a position where they could have been close enough to leapfrog a team like Clemson. So that comes from that previous video 2 weeks ago. So that's why I went down the rabbit hole that I did and started looking into the playoffs. But I mean, look, Gamer D, it's not already broken. This is a build of the game that was probably 2 months ago. It's stuff like this. I'm sure that they catch and they'll release it with the patch. It's Ben Hallmiller said it best. I mean, he did a video last night that I reposted on my Twitter, if you follow me. And this is cool, man. I mean, I've got to stop and watch every one of these entrances. I mean, this is for the Bahamas Bowl. Western Kentucky's played in this game several times. I enjoy every time they do. I mean, people don't watch all the bowl games. Buddy, when this game comes on December 15th, December 13th, whatever, it's one of the first games to kick off bowl season, usually 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm watching it. So I love the graphics. I love the Bahamas Bowl. I love college football totally. We don't have pro football here in Louisville, Kentucky. So, we're surrounded by Indianapolis Colts, Cincinnati Bengals, to the south of us, Tennessee Titans. We're all within 2 hours of all those destinations. But you see that Clemson ended up winning the national championship. But what I was saying was that we love, college football around here. So we're like the number one market for watching college sports. The city of Louisville is, regardless if it's, basketball really wholeheartedly. But we also follow college football. We've got the blueprint for the SEC, with Kentucky being 45 miles to the east of Louisville. IU's to the north of us, so we have Big Ten. Louisville's now in the ACC. So we've got all these conferences right here in our backyard. And, we watch all those games. And then, in basketball, we had a history in the Big East. Louisville fans are educated fan base, and they respect and they enjoy college athletics. It's what we live for. And a lot of people in the South are that way. You love SEC football. You follow your teams. It doesn't matter if you're at Alabama or Auburn, if you're at the University of Georgia, even if you're at Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and Knoxville. We love college sports. This is our pro. And that's why there's such a love fest. You see 100,000 people going to games at LSU and Alabama and Clemson. We get up in the morning and we live this. We live and breathe college football. There's 2 seasons in the South, honestly. You got football season and you have recruiting season. That's it. Here in Louisville, we actually have basketball. I mean, I say that, but I love football. I love football. You know, we're good here in Louisville. We've won 3 national championships since 1980. Even though they want to say that we took one away, BS. Everyone knows and watched that game. We beat Michigan. So we've won 3 titles. We compete everywhere we go. That's all you can ask for. But, football, we've been down. We owned UK for a long time. From the time we had Petrino 1.0, 2.0, to even having Charlie Strong and, John L. Smith. I mean, we owned Kentucky for a period. But we've been on a losing end for the last 5 years, and we got to turn that around. We're losing because of some of the recruiting that happened. We're actually losing some of the local players that went to UK. And you got to give Stoops credit, man. I mean, I don't hate on the guy. I mean, there's been some guys at UK in the past. I love Hal Mummy. I'll tell you what. I mean, I spent time with Hal Mummy back in the day. Even though that guy lined up in the same formation every time, kind of like Chip Kelly, and they ran the same thing over and over again, that dude was brutally honest. Recruiting was crooked as hell. I mean, that dude was all crooked as can be, and he came to our school a couple times at Fairdale High School and recruited some of our players. But they brought in Joker. His dude was a joke. I mean, he was terrible. So we owned him. We owned Stoops for a little bit, but he's finally got some players, and he owns, the state of Ohio in recruiting. So he gets all the guys that can't go to Ohio State and stuff and slip through the cracks. And he's been able to build up a program. I mean, they're never going to win the championship or, used to be divisions. They're never going to win the SEC. But they've been competing more lately, and for UK, if they win 8, 9, 10 games, that's success. The fact they get to go a bowl game, that's success. And for them, they'll tell you, when Kentucky beats Louisville, it's like they win their Super Bowl. John Calipari said that all the time in basketball, but it's the wholehearted truth. Kentucky don't care. They've lost to Tennessee like 30 straight years. As long as they can sit there and beat the University of Louisville in football, that's their Super Bowl. They can go 3-9 and beat Louisville, and they had a successful year. Truth. That's facts. Nedman, I'm under embargo. I couldn't tell you if I did or didn't. Read in between the lines. Someone says EA on drugs, putting App State number 3 and Ohio State number 11. Well, the reason why Ohio State was number 11 is it's twofold. Okay. So Oregon was rated, was they number 1? And then Ohio State lost to Oregon in the conference championship game. So because they lost in the conference championship game, that dropped them down, and they probably dropped them down behind USC because USC has a cake schedule. I mean, I've seen Sims that USC is actually 12-0 and then lose to Oregon in the championship game and then dropped outside the top 10. So that's what happened. I mean, App State has to be, and I'm not quite sure if that's accurate, but one of the Power 4 schools, conference champion, has to be seeded 1 through 4. So Ohio State, the best they could have been would have been number 5. That's the best because Oregon had already secured the spot for the Big Ten. But yeah, I mean, there is an SEC bias. There always is. Am I streaming the game tomorrow? Yes. Yes. I don't know. I'm probably going to try to stream the games. I'm not going to do all that stuff and follow for 7 hours. I mean, I'll be watching. Y'all don't want to look at my ugly mug talking for 7 hours. Get on there, spend time with your wife and kids. The game comes out Monday. You're going to be spending a lot of time playing the game. But I'll probably jump on here to stream that Mike Vick and Tim Tebow game. That'll be entertaining. If there's a game early in the day, I don't know about, LeBron and that's going to be a sideshow. I'm not going to do anything with that 12 o'clock kickoff or whatever LeBron and them's doing. Love LeBron. Look, I'm a Cavalier fan. I lived in Cleveland 7 years. I know I said I was from 305 and I've bounced around. My dad was a jockey, so we traveled the country, brother. I was all over. I lived in Chicago. I lived in Cleveland. So, I lived in Miami, so I followed Miami and Florida State growing up. When we moved to Cleveland, I became the Ohio State fan. 7 years I lived up in, on the Mistake on the Lake. I was a Cleveland Browns fan, so that'll tell you all you want. I mean, I followed some bad teams. The Cavaliers sucked for years. I followed the Cleveland Indians when we were terrible. Okay? I mean, we still haven't done anything with the Cleveland Browns. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not jumping around being a bandwagon. You know, be like, oh, well, you're Ohio State and Louisville. No, there's a reason. Okay, I lived in Cleveland for 7 years during the impressionable times of my life. I moved to Louisville when I was in 5th grade. And I only became a University of Louisville fan because when I came to Louisville, Kentucky, my mom and stuff, you know, we watched UK and U of L play. When I was in Ohio, you know, that was still big because we never played head-to-head, not until like 1983 during the Dream Game. So when the University of Louisville won that game, that was big for me. But I didn't care one way or another. It wasn't like, you know, I was like, hey, I was a fan of anything from Kentucky. You know, that was some roots for me because that's where my mom was from. So anyway, when I moved here, I was totally impressionable. I didn't care, you know, who it was. And it wasn't until I got around Kentucky fans while I was in elementary school that I learned I didn't want to be a Kentucky fan. Okay, I'm of Latino heritage. At that time, in the mid-'80s, other than jockeys and maybe baseball players that played for Louisville Redbirds, there was not any Latinos. I'm not Mexican. You know, I'll say that. But my dad's from Panama. Okay, so I never learned how to speak Spanish. My mom wouldn't let me because she thought we were talking about her, and we were, so she banned Spanish in the house. So that's my background, though. And I used to hear all these things that were said about players of different ethnicities. And it turned me off to that fan base. And it drove me into the arms of the University of Louisville. And it didn't hurt that at that time that the University of Louisville won the 1986 national championship. I had met LeBradford Smith. I kind of knew Milt Wagner. So that's how I ended up becoming a Louisville fan. But I also didn't forget about Ohio State because when I lived in Cleveland, we used to have this little like 7-inch TV. I used to watch Ohio State basketball games on a 7-and-white, black and white TV in my bedroom. So that's where my love for Ohio State came from. So when I came to the University of Louisville as a freshman to play football, before I tore up my knee, we actually went to Ohio State and we lost at the Shoe my freshman year, 20-19. A lot of people don't realize that, but Harsh Neuberger was the coach, and we had just came off winning the Fiesta Bowl and beating Alabama the previous year. And then we go to Ohio State, and we had high expectations. We lost that game 20-19 in a heartbreaker. And that's when Louisville was an independent. We weren't in a football conference. You know, we weren't affiliated with like the ACC now. You know, we weren't in the Big East. There was no Big East that we were playing in. You know, Big East was Miami. It was Boston College. It was Pittsburgh. It was West Virginia. It was Syracuse. That was the Big East back in the day. We weren't invited to that. We were on the outside looking in. We were one of those independents. Like Notre Dame's an independent now. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, the University of Louisville was an independent. And we played legit teams. We played Oklahoma. We played Florida State. We played Arizona. I remember, you know, Arizona on the schedule. We played Pitt. We played West Virginia. Kentucky wouldn't play us. It wasn't until the late 90s that UK finally put us on the schedule. We built Cardinal Stadium. They avoided us for years. Avoided us. They didn't want nothing to do with us because their line of thought is Kentucky is they're superior. They're in the SEC. They've got all the bells and whistles. They could tell everyone for years that, hey, we struggle in the SEC, but we're losing to Alabama. We're losing to Tennessee. We're losing to Florida, even though Spurrier's smacking them. I mean, he's making them their son regularly. But they didn't want Louisville to have those same kind of resources. And if Louisville was given an equal playing, platform, that's why the SEC keeps Louisville out of the SEC, because Kentucky has that vote. That's why Clemson ain't in the SEC, is because South Carolina. That's why Florida State in the SEC, because of Florida. They've got these agreements, man. Those old dogs who've been around, they don't want the guys that are what they consider lower than them to have those same kind of resources and money to beat the state program. Kentucky don't want Louisville on equal footing. South Carolina, the state school, don't want Clemson in the SEC. Never going to happen. That's why you're seeing right now with what's going on in Florida State and Clemson. They're trying to get the hell out of Dodge. They want to get some more money. They thought they were going to go somewhere else really good. It didn't happen. They're never going to let them in the Big Ten because they don't have the academics. The SEC ain't never going to let them in because of the Big Brother program. I mean, they'll expand west. They don't care about Oklahoma. Oklahoma didn't bring Oklahoma State with them. Texas A&M trying to run away from Texas. And now you invited Texas? But if anyone's mad right now, it's Texas. You know who's really mad? If y'all watch that short, I don't know, I'm sitting there sidetracked, man, watching gameplay. This dude is... I love watching this game, man. I know he's playing a 1AA team or FCS Southeast. That's the Pandas, and he takes credit for the Pandas. That's Panda Express, man. I started playing your boy, man. We went to Panda Express the other day, and I started playing. I don't even know. I can't think of his name right now. Panda. Dude, I play that. My wife's like, look at me like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you, dude? Like, really? I'm like, hey, every superhero's got some theme music. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying. And someone said that in the comments. There is legit hate. UK and U of L, University of Kentucky, University of Louisville, we hate each other. We're separated by 45 miles. If you can draw an outline of Jefferson County and maybe some of the surrounding counties, but not much. Louisville has Louisville. Louisville has Jefferson County. The other 119 counties in the state of Kentucky hate the University of Louisville. They absolutely hate us. You have pockets of fans in Owensboro and in Bowling Green and some other spots. The state of Kentucky hates the University of Louisville. Even though Jefferson County and Louisville, Kentucky supports the whole state and they feed off us. We're like the football program, brother. You talking about, state politics and government? Louisville runs the whole state of Kentucky. Our businesses in the city of Louisville run everything. And yet we don't have no voice in the government. We're outnumbered. We're always going to be outnumbered. 119 counties to 1. Public funding goes to everything but Louisville. They'll give the damn money to EKU, Northern Kentucky, Western Kentucky. They give it to Kentucky School for the Blind before they give it to Louisville. So that's where, that back and forth and that hate comes from. They're always trying to keep us down. And other teams face that. And everyone, in college basketball season, they talk about Duke and North Carolina and that rivalry. They play each other 2 and 3 times a year. One team wins. The next week, 2 weeks from now, the other team beats them. They forget about it. That we play each other once a year. We hate each other for 365 days a year. If you win the game, you're bragging. If you lose the game, you're still bragging because, we beat you in recruiting. We did this, we did that, this, that, and the other. We hate each other. It's a rivalry like none other. I mean, college football, you've got Michigan and Ohio State. There's not the animosity. There's not the animosity. Families are divided in this state. I don't let blue in my house. You do not walk in my door wearing a University of Kentucky shirt. There's no blue. I don't, never, ever. Ain't happening. And I say that, God dog it, I've got a damn Kentucky shirt that I bought for this videos and all that stuff. And I'll wear it and then I'll go take a shower and probably burn the damn thing. That'll be a part of one of my videos. $22 down the drain. Because, buddy, the level of hate and animosity is real. You guys in other countries, you don't understand. There's nothing like the University of Kentucky, University of Louisville rivalry. And I know that, and I respect North Carolina Duke. Don't get me wrong. Those guys separated by 9 miles. Y'all see each other all the damn time. You go to work together and all that. We work together, UK fans. They're all over us. They wear Kentucky shirts everywhere. There's no other, they own 3 shirts and all 3 of them say University of Kentucky on them. And most of them's never gone to college and don't know what college is. State, I got you, brother. Yeah, I hope I make that $22 back. Right now, I'm probably about $10,000 in the hole with everything I bought for this setup, but it is what it is, man. It's an expensive hobby. I bought 2 mics. My son ain't never got on yet. I bought all this equipment in May. So I hope I recoup some of it, but regardless, we're going to enjoy it. He's going to do some live streaming in Madden and college football. So hopefully I can give him some kind of platform. He really enjoys this stuff. I mean, so do I. It is great. It's given me great pleasure to do this stuff. Hopefully, I've got some guys that are following me and enjoy this college football stuff as much as I do. I'm new to this streaming. So you guys got to be patient. I mean, I'm trying to figure out the ins and out and try to maintain. I'm not supported like all these other content creators that have managers and people doing all the editing and stuff. I'm doing all this stuff myself, and I'm figuring it out on the fly. So if you guys can be patient, enjoy listening to me rant and rave and do whatever I'm doing right now. What else you got to do on a Friday night, man? I mean, I'm sitting there talking to you guys, reading the chats and comments. He said that's a Panda guy. Yeah, man. I mean, designer. That dude. I know who designer is. Don't think, when you get up here in 50, all kinds of run together. But I know designer, man. I lost it in that moment. Who I'm listening to right now, dude. That Eminem came out at midnight, but they're going to cancel that dude. They're going to try. Eminem fan base ain't never going to let him get canceled. Marshall Mathers is now Eminem all over again. He's transformed. He's gone back. He's saying some stuff that I wish that everyone could say. He is telling it to you like it is, the way that I grew up. And even when I grew up, people were like, Eminem, like, did you hear what he just said? Yeah, I mean, imagine what he's saying right now. And he's doing it 20 years later. Good googly moogly. What's my top 10 2-star teams? Kendrick, I wish I could tell you. They haven't put out a list of the 2-stars, so I would just be going off the top of my head, and I would be doing like everyone else and just talking outside my mouth. Some of the lower teams that I would be excited about, though, yeah, you're right, State. I mean, they can never cancel. They're going to try. I mean, they've already got them trying to put out statements about, well, you said this and that. Who cares? If you don't like it, turn it off. If you don't like me, turn me off. I don't care. I'm a grown man. If you want to come up here and cancel whoever, you can't. You can never cancel Eminem's fans. Those stands ain't going nowhere. They're going to back that dude until he dies, and when he's under the ground, they're still going to be arguing and trying to defend Eminem. It ain't happening. This Gen Z or whatever they are, they hate life. They hate life, man. They're worried about what everyone else is doing. Oh, well, you're bullying. Really? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're telling me what I can't say. What are you doing? We're not for everybody, man. If you don't like my videos, shut it off and go watch someone that you like. You don't like Eminem, shut it off. You've never heard an Eminem song before. Why are you complaining? You're reading a reaction like they're talking about Eminem dissed Kendrick Lamar. He ain't dissed K-Dot. Get the hell out of here. He was saying that people who are reactors, who are content creators, and I'll get back to it, Richard. I'll get back to it, buddy. But they're saying that he said this, and this, that, and the other. He was saying that those people said it. That Eminem never said it. He's just replaying. As far as this video game, though, man, as for the top lower level teams, I'm looking at teams like this year, Memphis and Tulane. I don't know where they're going to be rated, but they're very intriguing. Memphis has a quarterback who's like a 3-year starter who threw for almost 4,000 yards, 39 touchdowns, like only 6 picks last year. Tulane has some transfers come in. They have a legit running back. They've got a kid to transfer from USC. There's something to be interested about. I think Boise will probably be a 3-star. Even though they're Mountain West and they're a group of 5, I think that they're going to be rated too high. Appalachian State, great team for 2-star. Liberty, probably going to be a 2-star. I'm looking at Liberty. They've got one of the best backfields in the country. If you want to talk about, a team, they've got Caden Salter, who ran for 1,200 yards last year and actually has a decent arm. The running back Cooley, who's also number 100 overall player, is like a 90 overall with 88 speed. He ran for 1,600 or 1,500 yards. Their starting backfield, quarterback and running back, ran for 2,500 yards last year. And they're playing in the watered-down Conference USA. They've got one game out of conference playing Appalachian State. Liberty. Buddy, you better look at Liberty. For real. I mean, if you want to take over a 2-star probably program, Liberty, Tulane, App State, Texas San Antonio, and listen, hear me out, okay? Texas San Antonio, the only weakness that I really see is that quarterback position. They've got 2 of the best receivers in the conference. No, wait a minute. Let me think about this. I'm going to make sure I didn't misspeak. Because there's one of those teams in Texas, and there's so many, but one of those teams in Texas brought in James Madison's quarterback. I don't know, was it Texas State or was it Texas San Antonio? So anyway, any of those, if you got a program like a Texas State or a Texas San Antonio, UTSA, the Roadrunners, you've got the fertile recruiting base of Texas. If it's San Antonio, you're going to make your pipeline state be East Texas. Now you've got Central Texas, East Texas. I know someone keeps saying San Diego State. Decent team. You got California, SoCal. So you got a fertile recruiting base. Someone else I like is 1-star, and it's just because I've used them in the past. San Jose State. They're a 1-star. I mean, they've been notoriously bad. They had a good year like 3 years ago. They went like 8-3 or something crazy, 10-2, something. San Jose State had a good year for a change. If you want to really just build a team, Kennesaw State, I mean, you're looking at a team that's, I'm not even going to say they come from the ashes. I mean, they're not like a Phoenix Rising again. They've never been nothing. This is their first year. But you could actually put your blueprint, your thumbprint on that, and be like, hey, I built this up from scratch. So you could take a Kennesaw State. I know that they've got nice jerseys. They got a 10,000-seat stadium. They play in Fifth Third Bank Stadium, which is an all-purpose stadium. You could use them. In the MAC, if you're looking at someone there, I know a lot of people, as far as building a team up, is Kent State. You could use either Kent State or Akron. Both of them are equally terrible. I think that Kent State's had more recent success, even though they're picked in the basement this year. But they've got a little bit more talent. You could probably rebuild Kent State faster. I don't know, though, where Miami of Ohio's at in the grand scheme of things. If they're a 2-star, they're the cream of the crop in the MAC this year. So, if you want to go with the MAC conference, and if Miami of Ohio is a 2-star, you could look at using them. Trying to think who else. It's intriguing what's going to happen with the Pac-2 with Oregon State and Washington State. Some people have talked about maybe rebuilding those conferences and putting the old teams back in. I mean, you do whatever you want. But right now, those guys are scheduled to play a lot of the Mountain West teams. They've basically brought them in open arms, and they're trying to get them. Big Shep, hey, Troy, I've always liked Troy. It's been about 10 years with the Trojans whenever they start playing. In fact, it might be even longer than that. I like their jerseys. They've got some different, they keep switching up, their logo a little bit. I mean, they try to save that base. But I remember when DeMarcus Ware was there, man. That's why I've always had an affinity for Troy. Murder Mafia, as far as a team, South Carolina's in one of my videos, and I've got them listed as the number 1 team to use. Reason being is their roster is loaded. I mean, they just signed a kid who's a 5-star athlete for defensive end. 6'5", 240. I mean, he's got a motor that, out of this world. So you're going to have a defensive end for at least 3 years. You can start him from day one. Like you said, they've got good jersey choices with the garnet, and also have the all black murdered out uniforms. You've got a great entrance. I don't know about the music, if they actually play that. I mean, there's some teams that have licensed music and others that don't, but it's still going to be entertaining. And the other thing is you get to compete in the SEC. Now, this year, they've got one of the toughest schedules in football. I mean, they've got 6 teams all ranked in top 25 on their schedule. So it's going to be tough, but if you have any kind of stick skills and whatnot, you've got a great running back. They just got that transfer from South Carolina. I'm sorry. They just got that transfer from Arkansas that went to South Carolina. So you've got a top-notch running back. You got a 6'5", 240 receiver. You also just got a receiver. Yeah, Harbor. You also got that receiver from University of Louisville, Amari Huggins-Bruce, which was here. He was always a disappointment, but it was always, he had so much potential. It's like, at some point, potential has to be, carry out and show out on the field. You've got to go out there and prove your talent and your worth. But Amari Huggins-Bruce, I think, is a wild card for South Carolina this year. Sellers is a thing, man. A quarterback, you got a redshirt freshman. He only threw 4 passes last year, threw like 2 touchdowns, ran for 84 yards. So, that's the one thing about them. East Carolina, I like their uniforms. We used to play them. Louisville used to play East Carolina, ECU. I've talked about Coastal Carolina in some of my videos with that Till field. They've lost some of their players. So, I mean, and the biggest thing they lost was their NIL. So it hurt them in recruiting this year in the offseason. They lost the Till Collective. Those 3 former players left after being there and committing, which, go back and watch my skit, man. I mean, it's like, dude, I just paid this dude $2 million. What do you mean we don't have a collective? So I made a play on it, but I was given a little bit of attention to Coastal Carolina because they do have some nice jerseys. And then you've got a teal field compared to, Boise, which has the blue field. And they're going to compete in that conference. I mean, if you can beat App State, there's a lot of parity in the Sun Belt, but there's no dominant team. So that's, something else to think about, enjoy. It's all personal preference. I mean, you could take anyone. I mean, you want to play with Temple, go play with Temple. I mean, you're going to enjoy whatever it is that you like. I've got some thoughts just because I've gone in here and I've looked at Phil Steele and Athlon and Lindy's and broken down all the where teams are predicted to finish. I've looked at depth charts. I've looked at returning players. I've looked at the transfer portal. I've looked at recruiting classes, and I try to give everyone an idea. But there's always someone who slipped through the cracks and players on teams. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. University of Louisville, we signed Cauley Lacey, from South Alabama, who's going to come up here and ball out at receiver for us. 4th team All-American. Not even listed in top 10 receivers. Legit. Had 91 catches, like 1,300 yards last year, a dozen touchdowns. He's going to be a problem in the ACC. As long as Tyler Show stays healthy, I mean, he's going to be throwing – Louisville's going to be more wide open throwing the ball this year. We had Jack Plummer last year, and he was a bum. Couldn't throw the ball over 40 yards. And we wait until he proved he couldn't lead the team against Pittsburgh when we lost in the rain with 3 fumbles and an interception or whatever it was. And, we blew a 4th quarter lead and lost to Pitt. That was our, that was our early loss in midseason. Should have never lost to Pittsburgh. But Louisville's going to be – Brom's going to get back to what he did at Western Kentucky and what he did at Purdue. They're going to be throwing the ball around. I mean, we made that cat that plays for the Atlanta Falcons was with Arizona Cardinals. He went up there to Purdue and was an All-American his freshman year. We're going to see more of that. Who's my first rebuild? I don't know. I've got a couple teams in mind. I really, I'm intrigued by Nebraska. They're a team that would actually be a quote-unquote rebuild. As far as using teams and building them up, though, I like Texas San Antonio. I like Coastal Carolina. I like Tulane, which I've told Uncle, I say that. He's asking everyone like, hey, who should I use in my dynasty? And it's down to, 3 teams, and one of them is Marshall and the other's, Tulane. And I'll keep telling them, I'm taking Tulane. I mean, to rock with those jerseys they have. So you've got that swag from day one with them, and then you also have a decent home field and a manageable schedule. You've got to beat in that conference. You've got to be able to beat UTSA, and you've got to beat Memphis. Tulane, I really like the idea of using them. I like Appalachian State maybe. There's so many teams from that conference. I could use Western Kentucky in Conference USA and be thrilled. So I've got a couple teams in mind. I'll show you. I'll share this with you. So I've got a stack, and I know you can't see it. This is a stack of index cards with every team's name on it. Okay, that one's Eastern Michigan. And what I'll probably do is that's a Texas A&M, whatever. I might just sit there and do a random draw and be like, okay, I'm going to narrow it down. Here's 5 teams from the group of 5. I might actually do a stream and just pick out one of these 5. I've got t-shirts back here. You know, a lot of people are putting hats on the table and taking pictures and making content. Hell, I might come on here and do a live stream and be like, okay, I've narrowed it down. Here's my 4 choices as if I'm a recruit and I'm getting ready to pick my college. You know, so I'll think of something. I haven't finalized who I'm going to use for a rebuild or for, you know, to actually build up. I could probably do that. But, I mean, you guys see, I got dumb stuff like that. I mean, index cards that I've had for 20 years, maybe longer. I've had those since at least NCAA 03. So what's that? 03? So 13 years now of actually football video games. I've had this. No, they do not have any rankings right now for all 134 teams. They haven't released anything like that. I mean, we would love to see. I mean, it was misleading. It was clickbait the other day when they released, hey, we're going to release player ratings. It wasn't player. I mean, it was player ratings for the top 100. All they had to do is say, hey, that's the top 100. Everyone thought, myself included, I was going to see the ratings for University of Louisville. I wanted to see what the overall was for University of Louisville. You know, are we a 87 overall, you know, and our defense is 92 because we're a top 25 defense? Where are we rated? No attention to that. I mean, I do know that we've got 2 guys rated in the top 100. We've got one of the best cornerbacks in the game, Quincy Riley, stud. I've watched him. I coach defensive backs. Since he's been here playing, he has been our best cornerback. A lot of people are like, oh, this, that, and that. No, Quincy Riley's been the best defensive back that we've had here at the University of Louisville in a long time. You know, we had, when I was in school, Ray Buchanan had played for the Falcons and played for the Colts. I was in the same class as Sam Madison when I came through the University of Louisville playing corner. I was in Sam Madison's class. So I've been around some really good defensive backs. Let's see. Someone said, Reese, does Louisville still have that number 1 halfback they got a couple years ago? Forgot his name. No, that dude never even showed up at Louisville. Reuben Owens. Reuben Owens ended up decommitting when Satterfield, thank God, when Satterfield went to Cincinnati and they paid us $3 million, Reuben Owens decommitted and went to Texas A&M. So, yeah, we were never able to get the, hey, Shaq, you damn right. Jair Alexander, I watched him for years. Him and, you know, we had Lamar, everyone forgets. They were on that same team. That dude was special. It sucked because Jair was such a special talent. And we were playing, it might have been Clemson that year at home. And Jair was returning punts and kickoffs, and he got injured. And when he got injured returning a punt, which was a big return, I mean, it was a big return. It changed the momentum of the game. But we ended up fumbling the ball inside the 5 later on. But we lost that lockdown corner. He didn't play much the second half, and we ended up inevitably, we lost the game. But Jair Alexander is all-worldly special. He's one of the best players come through University of Louisville, doesn't get that same recognition. Everyone knows Lamar Jackson. He won the Heisman and all that. Hey, Lamar is special. Okay? We still recognize Johnny Unitas here and have a statue of him. But, yeah, we should have beat Clemson down at Death Valley. I mean, if the guy holding the sticks doesn't move the sticks and James Quick run out of bounds thinking that he made a first down, we beat Clemson at Death Valley. Not on top. The year before we marched down the field and we got stopped at like the 2-yard line. So, yeah, I mean, we've competed. We haven't been able to climb the mountain and actually beat Clemson. Until we do, we're not in that upper echelon. We've beaten Florida State several times. We've beaten Miami. I mean, we beat Miami like a drum in 2004, which is our coming out party that year. Mario Urrutia from Fern Creek High School here in Louisville, 6'6" receiver, just eats on Miami's secondary back in the day. We went down to Miami and should have won if it wasn't for God, dog, I can't think of that safety they had it picking us off. And it's like, why did we ever kick him? We punted the ball, ran it back for a touchdown. Special. But, yeah, I mean, we've played and competed with some very good teams. We've beaten Florida State. We beat Florida in a bowl game. We've beat Miami. We've just never beat Clemson. That's the one team that we've got to get over that hurdle. We've beat Notre Dame. I mean, I know that everyone's like, well, you know, they play basketball. Well, one year they actually were in a conference and, you know, were in the ACC during COVID. We beat Notre Dame a couple times. We beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. We beat them here at our place. We go to Notre Dame this year on September 28th. I'm going up there to watch that game. So, James Quick was a 5-star at Louisville. He went to Louisville Trinity High School. It's funny because James Quick used to come to our games at Fairdale High School. He was from Newburgh Middle and was a public school kid. Was going to come to Fairdale High School. We have a great basketball program. We've won 3 state championships, 1990, 91 back-to-back state champs I was a part of. And then 94 we won. So James Quick played at Newburgh. I coached against him in youth league, was very aware of James Quick. And then he was coming to I was coaching Fairdale High School at the time. He was coming to our off season, lifting weights, running, workout, the whole 9. And then one day he just disappears. Like, where's Quick at? We thought, I went to Fairdale, Justin. It's like, I graduated Fairdale in 92, and I coached Fairdale High School 94, 95, 96. We were regional champs. We were 1 play away from going to state championship. We lost to Paul Dunbar in 96. Then I went to Ballard High School. I came back to Fairdale in 2000. Coached several more years at Fairdale. So, I went to Fairdale. But anyway, James Quick was at all our games. It's like, where's James at? Where's Quick? Never heard of him. In fact, he used to come to our games, and, we were doing youth league, and, all-star team, we took care of him. And then June comes around, he's at off-season training, getting ready for 7-on-7. One day, don't get on the bus. Like, what? Where's Quick? He's special. I mean, this kid's going to play all over for us. Going to play all over. Roll into a 7-on-7 tournament, and guess who's on the other sideline? James Quick's at Louisville Trinity High School. And I know about all the shadiness goes on. I mean, because I coached at Ballard High School. We were the team in Louisville who decided we were never going to play Trinity in any other sport unless we had to play them in a district game. We canceled all freshman games. We canceled all JV games. We just didn't do it. And, the Brahms went to, they were at Trinity. I played against Jeff Brom in high school, so I'm well aware. Brian played there. Of course, in this city and in this state, everyone knows that Brom played against Michael Bush, Trinity, and Mel in one of the most epic state championship games ever. It went back and forth, was in the 50s. No one could ever stop each other. It was just, if you ever have a chance to go on YouTube and watch the video, I mean, it's a flat-out shootout. Neither one of the teams can stop each other. It was basically last team that had the ball won the game. Mayfield, Justin, my kids... my son went to Louisville Holy Cross, so we played Mayfield in the playoffs in football several years. So you guys have a nice program. But yeah, I mean, getting back to college football, I mean, there's been a lot of talent come through this city that's gone to other places. I mean, I've sent Jeremy Johnson, like I alluded to earlier, to IU. At one time, I had 5 players on Indiana's staff, or Indiana's roster. I've sent guys to Cincinnati. Ken Wynn comes to mind, even though his mom worked at University of Louisville. Ken Wynn went to Cincinnati, played safety for them. Sent Maurice Marchman to University of Kentucky, played football as wide receiver. Ron Bethel, Jeremy Johnson, Chris Yonke, Adam Tingle all went to IU. Sent a kid to Ohio State. So, I mean, I've been in the game for a minute, as far as coaching and sending players to D1 schools. Traveled, watched a lot of games on the road. Last year I went and watched Louisville and Indiana at Lucas Oil. So I'm going to go to Notre Dame this year, getting back to complete my story. I'm going to travel. I'm going to go to on my bucket list this year. I'm going to go to Notre Dame. I'm going to Western Kentucky, which I've been there before. That's no big deal, but I'm going to watch Western and play Kennesaw State October 30th. I'm going to go down to Death Valley. Louisville plays at Clemson this year, so I'm going to go down there and travel. I'm season ticket holder. I'm at every University of Louisville game. Don't do the hotel getting scene. I'm in my seat 2 hours before the game starts, watching pregame warm-up. That's just the coach in me. I want to see if we're ready. I'm watching all the warm-ups, drills, and stuff like that. I'm watching other teams. It's just what I do, man. But anyway, man, that's it. I've been on here 2 hours. I think that's enough. You guys are probably tired of seeing me. I will be on tomorrow night, though. I'll post a schedule on Twitter. Make sure you guys follow me. Hit like and subscribe. Check me out on Twitter at Fairdale Kings. Come back tomorrow. I'll be live streaming tomorrow night. I know that I'll answer your question here, Martyr. Hold on. Going back to recruiting, even you still a 5-star at Kennesaw State, you still aren't going anywhere, especially against top 15 schools. No, that's true. That's true. But a 5-star shouldn't be signing with the worst team in football. I mean, I know that Travis Hunter signed with Jackson State, but there's a reason. You know, I mean, he wanted to go play for Deion Sanders, greatest cornerback in football. I'm a huge Deion fan. Regardless of, you know, what everyone else thinks in Colorado and all the hype, whether or not it's warranted or not, if I'm a high school player and I'm playing cornerback and I have a chance to go play for the best player who ever played that position, and it means I got to go to Jackson State, but he was probably told, when this season's over, I'm going to somewhere. I'm going somewhere. I don't know if it's going to be Florida State. Louisville offered it. You know, in that hotel, one of the Sanders kids, and I think it was Shadur, had Louisville in his final 3 before he followed his dad to Jackson State. We are actually in the running for Shadur Sanders. A lot of people don't know that. We were in the running for Shadur. And then his dad got the head coaching job at Jackson State, and of course he went to go play for his dad. See, Deion played for the Cincinnati Reds in baseball. Don't get it twisted, which means he played here for Louisville Bats. Deion enjoyed his time in Louisville. He respects what this community has to offer. You know, this is a fan base that loves football and basketball. So anyway, yeah, I mean, a 5-star can go to anywhere they want. My problem is, yeah, if a 5-star goes there, they better not be signing no other 4-stars. You know, 1-star programs don't sign 5 guys that are 5-star or 4-star or better. They just don't. Maybe once every 5 years. Not 5 guys in one class when you're the worst team in football, and next thing you know, you got a top 40 class. So that's it. We can get back on here and chop it up again tomorrow, talk about this. Yeah, Kennesaw State Stadium holds like 10,200. They play soccer games there. I mean, if you go on their site and you look at it, because I researched when I did my video the other day, there's more videos about field hockey and the women's soccer team than anything else. They're going to build them some facilities. I mean, they've got some money behind them. They've got Adidas as a sponsor. You don't see a lot of teams that, you know, first year in D1, they've got Adidas as a sponsor. Raj, I was a wide receiver coach as well as a defensive back coach. In every staff that I ever coached, I was the one guy who actually coached both sides of the ball. I've been offensive coordinator in my 20-year career. I've actually been a defensive coordinator. Every year I've always focused on special teams because those are what win games. So even if I was in a head coaching role, I'd be doing special teams. It didn't matter to me. I think that's an important role in football, especially in high school football. It can win and lose games. So I'm one of those guys that pays very close attention to detail. There's a lot of guys that are rah-rah coaches, and I would do that in pregame and get out there and do the clapping and the chanting and get my guys pumped up and all that. But I also knew when the lights came on, it was time to get serious. That's what I was. So when I wasn't in the role as being an offensive coordinator, but I was defensive coordinator, I would talk to my players real quick, but I had to get back up there because I was a DB coach. And I'm always telling our coach what I'm seeing because I had that mindset because I played both sides of the ball. That I see the game differently than a lot of people do. I actually see the football game. I can see stuff before it happens. I would break down videos, break down film, and I'm looking at people's tendencies because, you know, there's only so many plays that you can run. So I could look at formations and know in certain situations what teams are doing. But I did my homework. I wasn't a guy that just, you know, coached PE and then showed up and made a check. I was invested in football. I put forth all my effort in football. So I even looked at this video game different. And if you go back, I've got videos from 2008, 2009 on YouTube where I played Dynasty and I recorded the games. And I would go down and break down the games to see what my opponents were doing because everyone's got tendencies. They're going to do the same thing on first down, second down. And now what kills me is everyone's running the meta. You got guys just running 3 plays, rinse and repeat over and over again. And no matter what, at some point, you might get me for a while until I make my adjustments. And once I start making my adjustments to stop what you're doing and take away your strength, it's over. And a lot of these guys don't know when you can take away what they like to do, they can curl up like a baby and it's over. They don't know what else to do. They don't have no adjustments. They do the same thing over and over. Doug, what's going on, man? Tony Satchery's owner. Go Tigers, man. LSU fan. Thank you for joining, Doug. Hey, that's the guy I was telling y'all about earlier in this video, who was the commish. He is the commish. He's sponsoring our draft. That's the guy. Infamous, famous, whatever you want to use, what term. He's got me games early. Thanks for joining, Doug. But yeah, I mean, for me, I've just always looked at football from a different era, and it's been advantageous to me. Not everyone has that innate ability to look at the game, and I think it's because I played corner in high school. I was a receiver, but I'll tell you this story. So our high school football team, we threw the ball 11 times my whole senior year. We had 2 1,500-yard rushers. We ran the veer. You couldn't stop us. I mean, it's like watching paint dry in basketball. Like, what are you doing? We ran the ball over and over and over again. So there was no reason to me going out playing receiver. We're never going to throw the damn ball to me. So I ran a 4.5. I'm not BSing. I was a legit athlete. At 5'9", I could sit there and dunk with 2 hands from just a drop step. I was gifted. Okay, I had a unique ability that not a lot of people have. Very fast, athletic, elastic as hell. I mean, I could cut on a dime, which is why I was able to play cornerback and also play safety. So I got moved to safety my senior year, but I was calling the defense from safety. Like, we got linebackers and everything like that. I called the defense. I was making all the check calls, getting everyone lined up. But I had that knowledge. I watched film. As a freshman in high school, I started watching film. I had a coach that took me to the side and taught me football. I played quarterback in middle school and as a freshman. So I had a sense of what teams were trying to do. I mean, believe it or not, back in middle school, I played damn center. I was like, because I was feisty. I'd hit anyone. I didn't care. I was physical. That's unique. You know, guys at that age who are my size avoided contact. I embrace contact. Now you've got guys that have concussions. I swear to God, I probably had 25, 30 concussions. That's why you see me doing all this dumb stuff I do. I probably don't know better. I've got brain damage. I mean, without a doubt. All the violent collisions that I had in my career, there's no doubt. I played semi-pro for 4 years. I played with a torn bicep. I have a hole in my bicep right now from playing semi-pro football. Tore my bicep last play of the first half, preventing a touchdown. Thought I dislocated my shoulder. Told my brother, who's an athletic trainer who's also playing for us, hey, dude, I think I popped my shoulder out again. He goes up there, is like, no, your shoulder's good. He said, you tore your bicep. I played the whole second half of the torn bicep. Just played with one arm. Locking down people. I came out of retirement and played football. Told the quarterback when I walked on the field, do not throw the ball at me. Oh, okay, whatever. First play, throws the ball at me, a pick six, take it to the house. Come back out, I told him, I told you, don't come at me. I don't play. He throws the ball at me one more time. I take it to the house. I never saw another ball the rest of the game. I had to move to safety because I was never going to get involved in the game. That's just what I did. I mean, it's just those, athletes like that who have those skills and see a game. I saw stuff before it happened. Because I put in the prep work. That's why a lot of these guys who play pro football, as you get older and you lose some of your skill set, you lose your speed, you lose your athleticism, the only thing you have to fall back on is you're smarter, your knowledge more so than everyone else. You're prepared because your athletic ability is going to fall by the wayside. Michael Jordan lost his ability to jump and dunk the ball and just go to the hole. What happened? He developed a jump shot and became one of the best shooters in basketball. I mean, he was already the best. But he knew that athleticism was only going to last so long, and then he had something else to fall back on. He had a crutch. What's this dude say? Bro, EA should give you more respect. Triple college football OG status. Hey, for real, I mean, Operation Sports gave me my flowers today. I'm on cloud nine. I mean, I love Steve Noah. Me and him, we've had some back and forth at Operation Sports. I was always, I could never post my rosters. It always had to be for free. I couldn't make mention of donations, and I was never charging anyone. It was always, like, if you guys enjoyed it, as a courtesy, show me some love. You can send me money through PayPal. I can never go on Operation Sports with their 1 million members and ever mention one word about donation. But Steve gave me that platform. That's the guy who runs Operation Sports. And then for today, for them to put out a newsletter and for Steve Noah and for Chase and that staff. And there's been a lot of good people come through Operation Sports. Don't get it twisted. Like Zach Farley, who's known as Z Farles, who was a Madden Pro player, who is now working for EA Sports. He was a member at the community at Operation Sports. There's a lot. That's just one example. There's a ton of guys who were members at Operation Sports, who wrote in the blog, who visited the forums daily, who did everything they wanted, and we're in the community. They know this is the game we love. But for that staff, for that group of guys to put out a message today saying that, hey, Big Will has a post about such and such and talking about this. O-Dog, who O-Dog and me have a great relationship, haven't always talked. We've been different, had our own, lives when we're not around college football, but college football comes around. Me and O-Dog are texting back and forth. They recognize O-Dog and his contributions to college football. But for Operation Sports to post today and mention and the legend Fairdale Kings, for me to be recognized from Operation Sports and the 1 million members that they have, that they gave me my flowers, hey man, I'm on cloud nine. I'm on cloud nine, man. And EA did recognize me. I got to visit the studio. I don't think there's a lot of people walking this God's green earth that have been given that opportunity. They invite you down there. It's invite only. If you're media, if you're a content creator. So for me to have even a couple hours of my life to be able to walk through the halls of EA and to talk with developers and all that, I'm blessed. I have no complaints. I'll never speak ill of EA. I don't always agree with things they do and how they put out games and stuff like that. But, I've put in my time in this community. I've done my work. And EA, whether or not it's showed, they know. And I know that. I was in a role that EA couldn't really promote. I put rosters, I put names on the game during a time when if anyone ever knew, and I did it for free, but, EA faced a huge lawsuit. And it could even win worse in their favor. I was recognized in ways, in back channels, that I always got my games early. This year's a little bit different. I just like teasing and poking the bear. EA, send me the game early. Send me an access code. Look, where we at? 2 hours and 18 minutes, I'm talking about college football. I don't even have the game early. I'm under embargo, can't talk about the game. Send me the game early. I'm 2 hours and 20 minutes talking about a video game that I don't even have in my hands right now. There's content creators cutting up videos for 10 minutes and they're done with it. That's just where I disagree sometimes with EA. I've put in my work. I put in my time. I love this game. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted, man. Madden, college football. Hell, back in the NBA Live. The basketball game that EA did for college basketball. The baseball game. I'm always, flagship for me is EA Sports. Always going to be. Always going to be. I used to do rosters for baseball, college basketball, the college football series. Heck, even back in the day before we had all this stuff with online, before everyone could get on there and do what we're doing right now, which is playing online, I did Madden roster updates. People would send me memory cards because we didn't have weekly updates. You guys are spoiled right now. We got a lot of guys that, you're getting the fruits of the hard work that this community put in. These young bucks don't know what we went through. We had these polygons playing the game, and rosters were jacked up, and someone had to tweak all the rosters and update the depth charts and create players. There was no weekly updates. You couldn't jump online and download, and have a roster update every single week. People like me invested time to go in and make sure, meticulously spending time updating player appearances and changing numbers and creating players. That's what I did. It became easier when EA started downloading roster. I didn't have to worry about Madden anymore. I just focused on college football. And I'm OCD, man. I can't play anything until it's perfect. I couldn't play college football until the rosters were done. They were my rosters. You know how many times I had conversations with myself talking about, man, you're slow. I want to play this game. I can't fire up the game knowing that tight end number 7 doesn't have a name. So I made free rosters for everybody. And they enjoyed it. They enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it. I like this. It kept me busy, kept me out of trouble, kept me focused, made me driven, but I appreciate everything. That's the other thing. It gives me a different appreciation than a lot of people have. And I'll leave you guys on this. Most people don't know. When NCAA Football 2009 came out, me and Pasta Padre, who runs one of the best websites around, and it's been slow, Pasta put in his work like I did. He built up his website from the ground up. Me and Pasta Padre had access to the game early. And we worked on the rosters in collaboration. We worked together to make sure on day one that everyone was going to have rosters when the game came out. Day one. Okay? 2009. Everything is lined up. It's going to be perfect. The problem is that college football jumped from 119 teams to 120 because Western Kentucky was in their transition year, just like Kennesaw State, and jumped to D1. So I'm editing the rosters, adding teams. Get to about team 118. No, I'm sorry, 108, 109. And I'm sending these rosters out to my buddies who are making sure that they're double checking my work to make sure there's no spelling errors, because we want to make sure everything is perfect. We want you to download rosters one time. I don't want you to have to come back and get different versions of it. I want to make sure it's done right the first time. I'm OCD. I've got to make sure that I'm worried that the community is going to respect my work, my efforts. So behind the scenes, I have a staff of 6 or 7 guys that are double checking my work, making sure that I didn't mistype anything and while I'm working 20-hour days and working through sleep deprivation. So anyway, as I'm doing the rosters, it becomes known to me that there's a problem. I'm adding teams, and teams are disappearing. We started losing like Florida International, Florida Atlantic, Western Kentucky. I've still got a video. I think it might be private now. But the rosters weren't ready because there was a glitch in the game. The game was broke. And everyone was like, oh, this dude put out bad rosters. No, it had nothing to do with me. It was the software, it was a memory issue. They had not expected by just adding one team, it was going to absorb so much memory in the game that it basically broke the game. So my name got dragged through the mud during this whole thing. And that's fine. But behind the scenes, no one knew. For 3 weeks, I'm having multiple conversations a day with EA Sports, trying to figure out what broke the game, what I was doing. I'm talking with the game developers who are in full-blown panic mode. They have no idea. They've got a broken product. I broke the game by naming the players. They didn't blame me or nothing, but they knew that at the end of the day, that's what happened, was that because they had X amount of teams and they added 120 teams and now they've got all the stadiums, 120 stadiums. It took up so much memory that they didn't account for the fact that now I was going to add 8,000 players on the game, and it took up even more memory space. That once I got to a certain number, 108, 109, 110, whatever it was, teams started disappearing from the game. There's nobody on Wisconsin. The whole team was gone. Western Kentucky was gone. Florida National, gone. Florida Atlantic, gone. Anyway, some other guys had some workarounds. They got the game, got their rosters out. I didn't have rosters on day one, but it got fixed for the bigger scene. I helped EA get you guys the game, but 2009 was a lot of struggle. It was frustrating, but that's just a little backstory that a lot of people probably don't know that I was involved with, that I worked directly with EA Sports. So I will never talk ill about EA. Never going to happen. Those guys, at the end of the day, no matter what you think about them, are trying to put out the best product they can. And they do it with the best resources they have. You got to remember, just like if you go to your job, you know, you have to have people support you. So they do the best they can with what tools they're given. This staff this year, the best staff they've ever had. These guys that came from Revamped that are helping this series with their different and fresh ideas, in a combination with Ben Hallmiller, who's been there for years, been through the wars, been through the battles, and knows what this game is about, and has his vision of what he wants. You better be excited about this game. There's going to be flaws. There's always going to be problems. This is the best college football game you're ever going to play. This is the best game you're going to play. It's not a reskin of Madden. There are going to be a lot of similarities because they're on the same, engine. This ain't Madden. This ain't Madden. If you think you're just getting Madden with new jerseys, college jerseys, you're 1,000% wrong. I can't say it with any more force. Watch the videos, man. Open your eyes and watch the videos. Watch the jet sweep that I posted of Arkansas taking to the house against LSU. Tony Satry, love. Don't get mad. I know you go Tigers. This dude took to the house on you, left all your guys like they're standing still in quicksand. You don't see this kind of speed in Madden. This game plays different. When you start throwing the ball with the different velocities and trajectories, it's going to blow your mind. I want to see more combination tackles, more guys come into the pile. We'll see how that, develops. That might not have been something they can get in this year with all the chain tackling and stuff like that. But the offensive line's been changed, the pass protections, the way they slide protect, and you can individually identify guys. The running game is going to be a lot more OP than what you guys are accustomed to. It's going to be different. Everyone's played the meta for Madden is throw the ball all over the field. Some guys don't even run the ball one time in the game. Those guys, while they're going to have success on offense, they have no idea how to stop anyone on defense. They're going to have no clue when someone's running the ball 70% of the time against them. They're going to be so frustrated because, they've been able to cheese for so long and just line up in 3-2-6, double fire, and just blitz and bring heat and just play behind it, drop the corners back and play quarter coverage and know that everyone's just trying to throw the ball vertical and throw corner routes. No one settles on check downs and crossing routes and stuff like that. You ain't got to worry about it. You put 3 guys in the box, I'm running the ball down your throat. I'm going to be a problem. Mark it down. You don't want to see me. There's a lot of things I don't do great. I'm going to run the ball down your throat. I'm going to run the option. I'm going to run read. I'm going to sit there and run lead. I'm going to run power. I'm going to be a problem. And a lot of these older guys are going to be the same way. They got the same mentality I do. You better stop the run first, because if you can't stop the run, I ain't never got to throw the damn ball. I ain't never going to throw the ball. You can't prove that you can stop the run, you're never going to see me put the ball in the air. Why risk giving you... Because there's only 3 things that can happen when you pass the ball, and 2 of them are bad. You throw an incomplete pass or throw a pick. The good thing is you can sit there and make a completion. Why throw the ball? Why give you the pleasure of knowing that you might make something bad happen? I'm going to run the ball until you prove that you're better than me and you can stop it. And then when you do, you don't want to see me airing the ball out. Because I can. I can read coverages. I can throw the ball. I can throw this ball touch. But I'm not going to make your life easy. I'm not going to give you the enjoyment of coming out and doing what everyone else does, which is throw the ball 100% of the time. I want you to get pissed off. I want you to be mad. I want to get in your head and get you aggravated because you know that I know I'm better than you. I'm imposing my will, just running the ball down your throat. That's what it is. And I'm going to do it from a bunch of different formations. I'm not just running halfback stretch, and it's going to be a wide array of formations and ways to run the ball. I'm going to give you looks that you think it's going to be a passing set with 3-by-1, 3 receivers on one side and the X receiver on the backside. All line up in I. All line up in 3 tight ends, all single back. Mix in some play action. Just keep you off balance. Throw the ball to the flats because everyone's going to be, I've got to worry about the corner route. Yeah, who's guarding the flats? Y'all go run double Mabel? How about I throw an 8-yard, 10-yard out pattern? You've got hard flats, and you've got a hard flats with the guy dropping 30 yards. And you got an outside linebacker's got to get to the flats for the hard flats to run a double up Mabel. Get the hell out of here. Throw the ball at the seam. Who's guarding it? Anyway, man, that's 2 hours and 30 minutes. I can't believe anyone's watching me on a Friday night at 1 a.m. Bless your heart. I'm not watching me at 1 a.m., man. But I appreciate y'all. Thank you for stopping in. Make sure that you guys comment down below. I've said it before. I sound like I'm repeating myself. Make sure that you guys hit like and subscribe. You're going to help the YouTube algorithm. Come back tomorrow. I'm going to be on. I know at least I'll be on tomorrow from 8 to 10 for that live stream of Michael Vick playing Tim Tebow. That's going to be interesting. There'll be you've got like 10 hours of videos tomorrow, 8 to 10 hours of content. And then you've also got the 35 content creators putting out videos throughout the day. There's a lot to enjoy. So I'm going to get on. I'm going to sit there and try to break down some of that stuff. I might do a video and maybe a reaction middle of the day. I still got to do my duties, man, because Monday, my wife is going to be single again. I ain't going to lie. I mean, it's going to be like she's going to be, thank God our kids have graduated from college. But I'm playing college football. I'm worked 8 hours a day. Thank God we work together. I can at least sit there and see her at work. I come home, I'm in this studio. I'm in my lab. I go to bed 2, 3 o'clock at night, man. I'm playing college football 8 hours. Guaranteed. So I'm just telling you, man, it is what it is. So I've got to spend some time tomorrow and Sunday with the old lady. And I'm going to do it even against her will. She probably don't want to see me. I've been locked up in here and making all these videos and getting prepared for college football. So that's enough, man. I'm out of here, saying it for the last time. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. I feel blessed that you even came on here and watched me. Appreciate the love and appreciation. It's been fantastic. This is my second live stream, and you guys keep coming back and showing me love. And I can't say it enough. I really appreciate the community and the support that I'm getting from what I call the OGs. I mean, a lot of guys are coming back to this game. You haven't enjoyed Madden, and you're following me in my journey. So I really appreciate it. So thank you guys much. I'm out of here. Fairdale Kings, I'm out. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.